That is the gathering as they have just now opened the gates outside for Oktoberfest here in the Oktoberfest grounds. We are in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and been up early. As a matter of fact, as we are perched high above in what is called the chalet. And Ben, are you watching the live stream by any chance? Ben Kenny producing the show.
Yes, it looks beautiful out there.
It is. That is the vacant grounds. That's the tent where the live music plays. And then beyond that main building and back is where the main stage is, and that's where they're going to tap the golden keg later. Where I am perched, look at the seat that I'm in. I'm sitting in what I can only envision this is what Coolio died in. It's like a throne. Man. It's a throne, man. This is cool. And by the way, Ben, the Stein here I got for you. So we got an official German silver top Stein. These King Steins. I don't even know what the value of these things are, to be honest with you, but I got you one. So I got a Stein for you, man. I'm thinking of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. We were imbibing last night with the president of the company, Mr. Tom Walker, and some of the staff out here. But good day to everybody. They got up this morning. My alarm went off and my phone started buzzing at 5:30. Now we got here last night at about 5:30. And I got I'm going to write a book one day that is going to be called, and I can't use the word on the radio, but it's S That Only Happens to Me. And I got a story about check-in yesterday. I'm going to tell you that in a little bit. But got here yesterday and went into the hotel, got cleaned up, and then came over to the fest grounds where they had craft beer night. Ben, have you ever had a ghost pepper beer?
Oh, no. It sounds dangerous.
Yeah, first of all, there's a beer, and I sincerely apologize. The guy listens every day, and he's going to crucify me when I see him later. But I can't remember the name of the brewing company for the life of me. But it's called, again, the S word that I can't say, Essie Pale Beer. And that's what I was drinking last night. And then after one or two, and everybody knows I'm an extreme lightweight. Kristen can put them down. She's got a wooden leg. Me, I'm a wuss. Started putting down a couple of beers, and they said, look at that. And I walked past the booth that had ghost pepper beer. I kid you not, it was like drinking a jar of carbonated jalapeno and ghost pepper juice. It made your eyes water before you even, like when you brought it up to your nose. It like burned your eyes. And I'm thinking, I can do this. I got this. No problem. I can do this. And I took a couple of drinks, and I thought, I'm going to need asbestos underwear later tonight. It ain't happening. So I had to put down the ghost pepper beer. But otherwise, it was pretty fun. We had a good time last night. And then this morning came relatively early as we got to Sloopy's alma mater this morning. And I'm going to post the other video of the actual tapping of the golden keg. They do a thing called the tapping of the golden keg, which is basically a beer can that's wrapped in gold, and they give out beer to everybody, and then they officially get it underway 8 a.m. So from about 6:15 to 8 a.m. I was over there, had one Bloody Mary, and then they tapped the golden beer, and I got it on video. I'll post it, and then they and then they really start drinking, and then I bolted over here and got set up, and so we are perched in the chalet. I am sitting in the chair Coolio died in, and this is where we're going to do the show today. It's pretty good, but that's my morning, other than listening to you and Rowdy and Ebo. Is Rowdy okay? Let me ask you that right away. Is he okay?
That's a great question. It's a spectrum of okay.
I would have thought that Ebo right now is probably kind of hovering above him in the hallway. As Rowdy left, they probably had to hit him with the paddles.
We've locked all the windows.
Okay. He was hilarious and out of control today, which was awesome. I love those days. Those are good days when the rants get going. So that's what we're doing. We are in La Crosse, Wisconsin. We are here for Oktoberfest. We're going to be here today. Tonight, we're going to be here at the ground. So if you're coming on out, you see us walking around. I did get myself a German felt fedora. I don't have that long feather on it, though. I don't know where the long plumage comes from. I don't know why there's long plumage on hats. But a gentleman that was standing in front of me at Sloopy's today kept turning his head, and between hitting me in the face with it and picking my nose with it, it tickled me a couple times. I sneezed on his hat. I couldn't do that to somebody. So I don't have the long plumage in my felt fedora, but I do have a feather in the side of my cap. Kristen got a matching one, but hers is red. So we're both going to have the fedoras on tonight, going to be walking around. So look for us here on the Oktoberfest grounds. So that's it. Anything else going on?
I mean, just a baseball game last night that probably disappointed many.
See, I wasn't going to jump right into that pond, but since you brought it up, it was we were sitting here last night watching both because it was on Amazon Prime, the football game, and we're going to get into the whole Tua thing because I think we got to discuss this. But we were watching that on our phones, and the Brewers game was on the TV above the bar, and we're like, this is awesome. Brewers are going to be a half game up. This is great. People are pumped up. We were watching this band. I don't know who the band was, but they were from Minneapolis last night, and they were fantastic. Listening to the band, it's like, this is awesome. This is really, really good. And the band finished a song. It's the, I don't know the girl that sings, I'm drunk and I don't want to go home. But that was the song they were singing. Do you know the song I'm talking about, Ben?
No, but I can picture it.
Yeah, find it. I'll track it down for you. We'll get it eventually. So anyway, they're singing that. We're rocking out. Got our beers in our hand. Good to go. And we turned around and was like, what the hell? What just happened? And we're all looking at each other like, what was that? And it all went into the crapper. You talk about wasted. It makes you it makes you angry that this team just can't get out of their own way. It is so, as a Brewers, now this is, take away what we do for a living for a minute, okay? Let's take away what we do for a living. We sit here and we pontificate, we strategize, we bring up theories, we bring up philosophies, we discuss it, and then everybody has their own opinion. As a fan last night, it's called Show Me the Way to Go Home, Ron says. That's the name of the song. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Ben's all over it. He'll find it. So, as a fan last night, I have to admit, I was so pissed off. I was so angry. Like, what the blank? It's sometimes beyond comprehension that this team can just pee down their leg as often as they have and cannot take advantage. No, you've seen the scoreboard. It's right there in front of you. All you got to do is reach out and take it. And they just pee down their leg every time. It's disheartening, and you still hope that they make it to the postseason and such, and you got something to cheer for. But it's as everybody said last night, there is not one person that wasn't in this big circle of people that were watching the Brewers. There's not one person, not one. So if Mark Antanasio and you're listening, perk your ears up. Not one person standing within earshot, and we're talking 20, 30, 40 people. They were all around this bar. We're all having beverages, and when the Brewers turned around and it was like, that was it, not one person feels that this team is, one, either worthy of getting to the postseason, or two, has any legitimate shot of doing anything when they get to the postseason. Not nobody. As you sit there and talk, well, they'll make it, but they suck. They're done. They suck. They're done. They can't do. They want counsel fired. They want Yelich burned at the stake. They want the bullpen blown up. David Stearns can kiss our rear end and go to New York. I mean, it was just anything and everything that you could throw out was being thrown out last night. And as I'm sitting there talking to people, I'm saying, like, well, if they get to the postseason, they're not going to do it. There is no belief, zero, none, nilch, nada. Hope, yes. Belief, no. As to whether or not this team would, if they get to the postseason, whether or not they're going to suck swamp water or not. Zero. None. That was last night. Now, I can honestly say that there was probably more than a few people that were imbibing. So it might have had a little bit of emotion to it, but that's the anger and the passion that was felt last night. Yeah, it was like, okay, we're done. Here, they served it up. The Phillies served it up to you on a golden platter, and all you had to do was take it. And then just hang on. Can't do that. Can't do that. On the other hand, and as I watched everything unfold last night, I could not help but think to myself that one Ben Kenny, watching the Philadelphia Phillies go down like the Titanic, you have got to be an angry pit has to be placed somewhere deep within your stomach and or bowels.
Yeah. Honestly, it's kind of comical at this point how both teams are just trying to lose it, and there isn't a third team to come take it from both of them. I guess the good news for the Brewers today is they can only lose one game. Meanwhile, the Phillies will likely lose two because they play a doubleheader.
Oh,
but I can't wait. I can't wait to bring myself through the emotional turmoil that this afternoon will bring. Yeah. I'm excited for it.
It is. It's ugly. It's ugly. So, then speaking of ugly, and we need to talk about this. I had stated on Monday after Tua got hit in the game against the Bills that, and we all asked ourselves a question. Well, there's doctors on the sidelines. If he says it's a back, the doctor says it's a back, the concussion protocol was followed, then it's his back. In the meantime, it's kind of the same equivalent of looking out the window on a really dark and cloudy day and somebody telling you, no, that's fog. The sun is shining bright. And you're saying to yourself, no, this is a cloudy day. That's not fog. And they're saying, no, you can't see the sun, but it's fog. And you're saying, okay. And somebody who's some kind of a meteorologist is telling you it's foggy. And you're saying, no, this is a cloudy day. I know what a cloudy day looks like. That's exactly what we saw on Sunday. And I didn't want to come off as I was pounding the table saying I know more than anybody else because I didn't want to go down that road. But now that we saw what happened to Tua last night, you cannot help but think he was concussed on Sunday. And I brought this up when we were sitting here watching this last evening. The way he went down in the game against the Buffalo Bills, a shove to the chest, which put him straight back on his rear end, which then brought his head snapping back against the turf. If people remember Corey Koski, he was the third baseman for the Brewers. He played here for like basically a blip in time. And they brought him in to shore up the third base position. He was going back on a foul ball down the third base line out in foul territory, and he caught a baseball going backwards. Fell on his ass, snapped his head back and his neck back, and his head hit the turf. He never played again. He lived in a house in Pewaukee. He basically had to paint rooms black because of the light sensitivity that he then had and experienced after that, and never played again. He had issues for a long time because of that severe concussion. We all thought that's what happened to Tua. He got up and he's shaking his head like he's trying to get you can see it. He's trying to just, as the terminology is kind of shaking the cobwebs out. He's trying to shake his head woof, man. It's not his back. He didn't reach for his back. He didn't motion that his back was hurting. This was a guy that got knocked into the noggin and was trying to shake the cobwebs out. So and Rick's saying, look, it's not unusual to have an injury in your back and weakness in your legs. You're telling me, Rick, and I know this. And I'm not saying this because I've had a football injury like that, but I just went through this where I had excruciating pain in my legs and my leg would literally collapse underneath me. But I never shook my head as if to clear my head. I'd always try to move my back to try to, in some way, shape, or form, alleviate the pain that I was feeling. He never did that. He shook his head. And then he went down, and you could tell the guy was glassy-eyed. I'm sorry. After what we witnessed last night, and he didn't get thrown to the ground that hard last night. It wasn't like it was a severe – Ben, am I wrong? Did it look like it was some kind of a horrific slam, like WWE-style slam to the ground?
No, not at all. It just his head hit, and
his head hit the ground.
His hands locked.
Yeah, his head hit the ground. I'll admit that. But he wasn't slammed. His head hit the ground. But my whole thought process is his head hit the ground and already suffering a concussion on Sunday. This immediately exacerbated it. And then that's the reason, 2 concussions within 3 days. I don't believe it. You're never going to convince me of it. I think the Dolphins lied. I think that the NFLPA has every right now to investigate this even deeper. I think that whatever doctor is on the side, now they're supposed to have additional medical people on the sideline, somebody independently. I don't know if they did. I'm sure we're going to find out. This just seems, we all looked at it. If it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck. It's a duck 99.9% of the time. It looked like a concussion. It didn't look like his back locked up. We've all seen that before. He wasn't like walking and his back was painful and he went down to one knee. This was a guy that collapsed. This was a guy that woozy, wobbly. No, it didn't, Pack fan. No, it didn't look horrific. If it did to you, then you're a moron. It didn't. He didn't get slammed to the ground. I've watched it over and over again. It was on this morning. I watched it numerous times. He didn't get slammed. Last night's hit, he didn't get slammed to the ground. He got pushed to the ground in the Buffalo game, and last night he was going down. He got twisted and brought down. And then his hand and his shoulder were out, and his head hit the ground. He didn't get slammed, though. No, he did not. And I just think that already having a concussion, which is what I believe, that last night exacerbated it. You don't lock up like that with your fingers and your feet and your legs. We've just seen it too often. We know concussions don't do that on the first concussion. So anyway, that's just my take, but I think the NFL and the NFLPA have a legit gripe here, and it's something that they need to look at, because I think, and remember, this is a team that was allegedly letting their coach go because they were already conspiring to get Sean Payton in there. They were trying to steal Tom Brady. They were trying to pay their coach to lose games. I don't trust Stephen Ross in anything the Miami Dolphins do as far as you can throw them. And now I think even more so, they've proven what a scumbag organization they are. That's my opinion. Let's do this. We're going to take a quick break. We are broadcasting live out here at Oktoberfest, and the crowd continues to pour in. You can see them down below there. Look at that. It's like herding cattle, man. Continues to get bigger and bigger. And that is the end of the entrance. That's where you're going through the scanning process to get in here. The crowd itself is beyond that. Way off to the left of the camera, going all the way back out into the streets as they come piling in, because coming up in about 40 minutes, they're going to tap the golden keg. Tap into the golden keg and then let the fest begin, and the oompa music starts flying, and the schnitzels are everywhere and strudels all over the joint, and yeah, there you have it. A lot of lederhosen, a lot of Gold Bond later on tonight. Oh, yeah. Then the big parade tomorrow. Should be a lot of fun. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin SportsZone Radio Network.
Wood designs that can be painted, stained, or unfinished to complement any decor.
We have a lot of windows in this house. You match the craftsmanship of the woodwork around those windows to a T. That's a talented group of people doing that.
We like our wood tones, and so the ability to have wood tone some places and the white windows others, it worked really well for us and allowed us to have exactly what we wanted.
Pella's team of expert installers always provides service of the highest quality, starting with an in-home consultation and ending with no hassle or mess, leaving nothing but perfect results that stand the test of time. We have the best wood warranty in the industry to prove it. There's no reason to wait any longer, because right now, put no money down, make no payments, and be charged 0 interest for up to 24 months. At Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Get started today at PellaWI.com.
Expires 9/30/2022. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
One ball, 2 strikes. 2 men are out with the bases loaded. Getting to their feet at American Family Field. Peralta ready. Here he comes. Hit in the air to center and deep. Trouble. Warning track. It is gone for Garcia.
And that's the song. That's the song. I like that. Like it. We are broadcasting live out here on Oktoberfest in La Crosse, festing out here, not at Miller Park. As Miller Park last night, you could just hear it. You could just hear it. It just went silent, just deafening. Okay, Pack fan, I'll apologize to you. It wasn't horrific, but I got 2 different angles of him being thrown to the ground. He was kind of whipped to the ground. You know what? I will say it was his shoulder hit first, his head then hit the turf. But you know what? I'll apologize to you because you're not a moron. You're not a moron. I can see, but I will say this: he had a concussion on Sunday. I believe that because I watched him get whipped to the ground. He gets kind of spun around. His shoulder hits first, then his head. And you know what? I'll apologize to you because I wanted to make sure I was right. And nope, I'm wrong. He did. It wasn't horrific. It's not like, oh my God, I can't watch that. It's not like the Joe Theismann ankle break, leg break. It's not. That's not it. But yeah, he got whipped pretty good. He got whipped pretty good. I'll give you that. No doubt. I'll give you that. But still, the NFLPA is saying that they will, quote, pursue every legal option as they investigate whether or not Tua should have even played on Thursday night. Most people are stating that he should not have played. End of story. That there's not many. Put it this way. If you take away anybody saying he had a back issue in that game on Sunday, do you look at him and say, that guy's got a concussion? He's wobbly. He's shaking his head. Because I'm looking at that now. That's the next thing I'm looking at is the piece of video from this past weekend. And dude looks wobbly. He doesn't look like he ended up I'm sitting there looking at it. He doesn't look at all like he got hurt with a back injury. I mean, he's getting up and shaking his head. Yeah, he's shaking his head. He's not even like reaching for his back or moving his back around or anything like that. He's clearly banged up where he's wobbly. Yeah, I that's a concussion. I'm sorry. I think the NFL's another reason, maybe it's not the NFL, but another reason to hate Miami, as if you needed one before. So I'll go along with that. There's people saying the NFL is a cheater's business. See, I can't blame the NFL. The NFL didn't do this. The Miami Dolphins did. And William, he asked a great point. He said, isn't there a doctor in the booth that calls down to get players out of the game in the Tua situation? Yes, but if the doctor on the sideline says it's a back, not a head, there's nothing you can do. He's supposed to be examined independently by two separate physicians. You're supposed to have, as far as I remember, now I could be wrong, but you're supposed to have the team doctor and then another doctor there. And they clearly did. So
I actually, Bill, back home, my mom's a doctor and someone that she is known forever through work, works at a hospital in Philadelphia, and his weekend job is to be the visiting team other doctor for when injuries happen for the Eagles. So He said, like his job is to, when those guys get hurt and they see the team physician, his job is to be the independent guy from a local hospital to clear them or whatever it is for the injury.
Okay. So, but I guess my next question would be, okay, so how much do you rely upon the team doctor to tell you, or do you then run over and look at this particular person yourself? You know what I mean? Because you're trying not to step on the toes of the team physician.
There aren't many specifics shared, obviously, with the laws regarding health. But my sense is, he wouldn't listen to the team doctor. Like, he would look at it from a pure health standpoint. I don't think he would be swayed one way or the other. But I could be wrong.
Yeah.
That was just my sense. Also, knowing him as a person,
right?
You wouldn't want someone with a concussion back out there.
Yeah,
it's not good.
Yeah, right. You would want to see. You would want to know what that other doctor had to say. Now, granted, I don't know if there's a HIPAA thing involved. I couldn't honestly tell you. But I know that this is not going to be something that's going to be a one and done when it comes to investigation, because it's just, we're all looking at this going, this is just way too obvious. Way too obvious. So anyway, got a big weekend coming up, obviously. You've got the Brewers still trying to hang in there, for those of you who have faith. You got Brett Bielema and company, who are now showing up over at Camp Randall. And then the Packers taking on the New England Patriots coming up here on Sunday afternoon. Don't forget as well, for many of you, the Green and Gold postgame show is going to air, whether it's on the app, whether it's going to be on these local stations, all these different places. Make sure you pay attention to us, because we're going to bring you all the analysis and such immediately following the game. We got a good one today. We got Matt Mitchell coming up. We're going to talk a little betting this weekend. We also have Wayne Larrivee, the voice of the Green Bay Packers, going to be here. Mike Clemens going to be here. Mark Womet. You're going to go, who? For those out here, you know who he is. We're going to have him tell us a little bit about Oktoberfest. We were here last year, and then we had technical problems. We had to leave. We never got a chance to really kind of get into the fest. Today, we're here at the fest. You're watching right on the Bud Light live stream right now as the crowd continues to go in. You can hear them. We got a microphone down. We actually have a mic down by the crowd. Believe it or not, Ben, this is a technical setup. This is actually a pretty cool setup. And for those watching on the Bud Light live stream again, I am sitting in the I can only describe as either Coolio or Snoop Dogg, or somebody would probably sit in when they're watching TV at their house. This is pretty badass. I like this. So this is all we're doing. We're hanging out today. Oktoberfest in La Crosse. They're going to tap that golden K coming up here at 11 o'clock. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Speaking of beverages, Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. They bring you the postgame show as well. The Green and Gold postgame show airing immediately after the Packers and the Patriots coming up on Sunday. Stay tuned. I got a lot more. We're coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
This fall, it's give and take at Potawatomi. Thursday nights, give yourself a shot at winning slot play or up to $5,000. And with 60 winners each week, you've got a good chance to take home your share of over $400,000 in prizes. Just play with your club card October 1st through November 17th for entries. The Give and Take Game Show, each Thursday and only at Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. More at paysbig.com/give and take. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Good to have you. We are festing, Oktoberfest style. We're in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Enjoying the day. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Kunes RV. Go to kunesrv.com. That is Kunes, K-U-N-E-S, kunesrv.com for all that they have to offer. And whether it's an RV or an automobile, a pickup truck, whatever it happens to be, there's Shop Kunes, K-U-N-E-S, shopkunes.com, or go to kunesrv.com for everything that they have, and just good people there. We go to the one down in Elkhorn, but they got them all over the state. They have a Kunes right here. I think it's actually, technically it's in Wisconsin, but it's like right on the river. So I don't know if it's technically Minnesota or Wisconsin. I think it's Wisconsin, but it's right here. So they've got him even out here in La Crosse. Kunes all over the joint. Wisconsin's fastest growing RV dealer. Go to Shop Kunes, Kunes.com, shopkunes.com. Welcome back to the program. We'll get into like the rest of the NFL and some of our discussions around the rest of the league. But Ben, you and I talked Packers and Badgers yesterday and did some picks yesterday. What is the point spread for the Packers now? Is it 9.5?
That's the last one I saw.
The last one I saw. They cover?
I think so. I feel really good. And whether it's Hoyer, which I think it will be, or Jones, I just like the matchup here. Even if Belichick mucks it up, the Packers are strong inside. They're strong on defense. They're strong running. And then whatever you can get from the passing game is kind of a bonus. The Patriots offense just doesn't scare me at all against this defense. So I think it's rather comfortable.
Yeah. The phrase there is if Belichick mucks this up. And that's always when it comes to the defense, so to speak, of the Patriots, of how he just tries to take something away, a strength away of some type, how much you get over top before, as far as point spreads go. I think the Packers are going to win this game. Let me say that hands down. But I just keep wondering what he's going to come up with to slow this team down. I think the only thing that they can do is stop the run and get after Rodgers. That's it, which is two things, but it's basically in the trenches. If you're going to win this game, you're going to win it in the trenches, defensively speaking. Other than that, I don't know how the Patriots win this game, because I don't think they have enough offensive firepower, even with Mac Jones. I don't think they have enough offensively to beat what the Packers can throw at them. And I think the Packers right now, defensively speaking, are starting to feel it. I love some of the things that are being said coming out of the Packers organization. I love that Quay Walker says that he's feeling more comfortable each and every week. And he's, as he put it, he's starting to taste it. You know, I love that. I love the fact that Devondre Campbell says, oh, no, the kid is good. The kid, you know, meaning Quay Walker, when he says the kid is good, and he starts talking about how he's getting it more and more and more, and sideline to sideline, and is taking the pressure off of him. And, you know, I was listening to some of these podcasts and some of these guys in the locker room and some of the different interviews that have been done, and I like more and more what I'm hearing out of this group. And I think defensively in the trenches, they've been really good. They haven't had to go deep into it. They haven't had to use T.J. Slayton a lot. They haven't had to use Devontae Wyatt a lot. They're just getting it done with Kenny Clark, Jerron Reed, and Dean Lowry. And so I think defensively by the end of the season, barring mass injury, I think by the end of the season, a lot of us, for what we thought this defense could be, they will either be that or very close to that. I'm starting to feel that. Also, you know, over the next 3-4 weeks, they don't necessarily play the stiffest competition. So these are the games in which you can, some will say, pad your stats. But I've also said time and again, when it comes to a particular squad, whether it's the Packers playing weaker teams or defense beating up on a weaker offense or whatever, you're supposed to do that, aren't you? What would be bad is if you're still average or below average coming out of these next 3-4 games. If you don't pad your stats, good defenses will do that. You can only play with who's on your schedule, and if you don't beat up on them and you don't dominate defensively over what it is they can do offensively, well, then you might have some serious questions. But I think by the time it's all said and done, the Packers defense is going to be pretty good statistically coming out of the next 3-4 games. I'm really anxious to see where this team ends up and how much they grow. And if you want to look at it this way, there's no gimmies in the NFL. We all know that. But if you beat the teams you should beat and beat them the way you're supposed to beat them and predicted to beat them, then in essence, these are the kind of those, how would I put it, the first 2 or 3 games of the season that, say, Alabama plays. When I'm not cupcakes, but when they play lesser teams, they really kind of get themselves right. The film starts to show you things you need to do. And then by the time you play the team like Buffalo in a primetime special up there in Buffalo, we've now corrected to our good. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the Packers are going to be able to do. 877-867-1670. Rick says, do you know Coolio just passed away the other day? Yeah, that's what I was saying. I said, this is, I said it tongue in cheek. This is the chair I could picture him passing away in. This is a throne, man. This is like, I got Coolio's throne after the fact. Or this would be a Snoop Dogg throne or something like that. Pretty cool seat. Not making fun of him passing away, of course. Then you've got Chuck who says, regarding Cunis, there's one between La Crosse and La Crescent. Right. I'm staying actually in La Crescent. I'm right across the river is where the hotel is. And as I come across the bridge, right there, there's another one he says in Holman, about 10 miles just to the north. There you go. Good stuff. 877-867-1670. Let's talk a little betting when we come back. Matt Mitchell going to be joining us from the Action Network. He's going to be here when we return. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Good to have Pella on board. We love them. And this time of year when you're starting to feel that crisp air, it was pretty cool here last night. I'm sure it was, in Milwaukee, and I'm sure it was everywhere throughout the state, but it got pretty cool here. And then you wake up this morning, your house is sitting about 68 degrees, 70 degrees, just about perfect. But I don't have any more of the drafts. The patio door is fantastic. Can't feel the cold air coming through the glass. This is the time of the year that you're going to start to notice that stuff. I'm excited that I got the door in. Can't wait to sit down in the great room, light a fire, sit back, relax, and warm, toasty comfort just because I finally got that bad metal door replaced. So I'm all geeked up about it. That's our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. And you got today. Call today. Today, the deal is going to be ending. 2 years, no interest, no payments, no money down. 2 years, no interest, no payments, no money down. That's Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Go to PellaWI.com. That is PellaWI.com, or call them 855-PELLA-WI. That's 855-PELLA-WI. We'll be back after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin SportsZone Radio Network.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others. I'm in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle, or a pirate ship, or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine. A place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, in Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
When the Packers host the Patriots here at Lambeau Field Sunday at 3:25, it'll be an important game for Packers coach Rich Bisaccia, who says as a young coach, he studied under the master of special teams, Bill Belichick.
Talk about field position, we're playing the ultimate field position coach in this week's game. He does everything possible to gain field position throughout the game, and we're really trying to do the same thing. Our job on punt is the last play of offense. We got to protect the ball, and then we transition to the first play of defense. We haven't had many shots in the kickoff return game to set the offense, but we've done it from the punt return perspective a little bit. The penalty cost us in the game last week. Also, think we got a really advantageous field position, somewhere inside the 30.
Packers wide receiver Romeo Doubs has been named the NFL Rookie of the Week. That's because he led the team with 8 catches for 73 yards in the win over Tampa Bay. Doubs talked about what it meant to score his first career touchdown.
It was a great moment to be in, with me just being the first in my family to play at this level. It's big for not just myself, but I like to think outside and see, maybe the kids that are inspired by me watching, my family watching, friends watching. So it's just bigger than just playing football for me.
Doubs is the first Packers rookie receiver to lead the team in receptions in a game since Max McGee did it back in 1954. I asked offensive coordinator Adam Stenavich, Sammy Watkins placed on IR, did you think Doubs would have that big of a day against the Buccaneers?
Well, we knew, obviously when Sammy went down that he was going to have a bigger part in the game plan. It's just a matter of kind of how the game flowed. He had his opportunities. He made some big plays, which we know he's very capable of, and we're very excited about him, moving forward. He has those great hands, and he can do some good things once he catches the ball. So, yeah, it was really encouraging to see that. Hopefully there's a lot more of that to come.
That's Packers offensive coordinator Adam Stenavich. In Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
That's our friends down at Stenny's, 2nd and National Walker's Point. Stop in, tell them we said hi. Let's do this. Let's bring in our buddy Matt Mitchell joining us, Action Network. You can find him over on Twitter at Old Boy Uncle Mitch. And Mitch, Matt, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. We're in the thick of the NFL season. We got college football entering the best part of their season. It's a great time to be alive, Bill.
It is. Obviously, if you're a Miami Dolphins fan, it's not because Tua is gone. You tell me if you thought he was concussed on Sunday, Matt.
Oh, I'm a Bills fan. I couldn't believe he was coming back into that game.
Right?
It was absolute malpractice to let him back in, and watching him suit up last night, you could see that disaster coming a mile away.
Yeah. So, okay. Now that that's out of the way, we got a game early. We are in London, or over in England, we'll say, over across the pond, the Vikings and the Saints. Interesting because the Saints have not looked great. The Vikings, not necessarily that they have, but I thought the Vikings might be favored by a little bit more. It's 1.5. I mean, it's basically a pick 'em at this point. Give me your thoughts on that game.
It's getting more interesting by the moment because it looks like now they have officially ruled out Michael Thomas, and I believe Jameis Winston isn't far behind, so it's moved very recently to 3. And I think that will keep going as kickoff approaches. Andy Dalton, I believe, is the backup for New Orleans. That's a feisty backup. He is no he's no Joe Schmo. He's no MAC conference rookie. So I'd be a little wary of this game overall, but all signs are pointing to a Minnesota victory across the pond.
The other game that I find of interest, and it's one of the bigger ones of the weekend, the Bills are on the road. They're taking on the Ravens. Ravens at home. Last time they faced a team at home was Miami, and they got beat. We know that Lamar Jackson's having an incredible year. The Buffalo Bills are coming out of that game against Tua and company angry because they got beat, and they put up over 400 yards down in Miami. But give me your thoughts on that game because it's a little interesting that the Ravens at home are getting points.
Yeah, it's a fascinating game. I'm a Bills fan. I've watched every Bills game of the past probably 33 years, start to finish. So I will say I haven't seen a game like that Bills-Miami game last week in a very long time. 120 degrees on the field. It looked like the Battle of Gettysburg by the end of it. Just bandaged players calling out for water. It was quite a scene. The Bills are coming into this game pretty banged up. Defensive secondary is a wreck. I'm leery of the Bills as still favorites on the road here. It speaks to how thriving their offense is, but they've got problems on the offensive line right now with injuries. They're like the walking wounded. So I would have been happier if the Bills just treated this like a bye week and just sat everybody and get healthy for the rest of the season. But yeah, everyone at the Action Network is on Baltimore. They love the 3. I think it's a little odd. It hasn't moved a little bit lower, but all signs are pointing to a Ravens cover here.
You've got another big game, the Chiefs, after getting beat in Indianapolis, and the argument on the sideline between Patrick Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy, their offensive coordinator. And the Chiefs are getting a couple of points, but they're going down into Tampa Bay. This game will be played in Tampa Bay. There was some thought that it would not be, but they will play it there. Give me your thought about that game as well.
Our guys at our squad at the Action Network really like Tampa in this one because of a number of factors, but especially Brady off a loss and as a home underdog. Brady's 7-2 straight up and against the spread after a loss. Tampa, when Brady is listed as a dog after a loss, he's 13-3 straight up, 15-1 against the spread in his career. He's just an animal off a loss. He's a miserable guy, I think, in the locker room and in the facility after a loss. And they're getting some guys back from injury. They won't have that dreadful receiving core you saw last week. I think if you take a side in a game like this, you go with the vastly superior defense in Tampa, and you look for Brady to get the win here.
No Mac Jones, the game in our own backyard, Patriots and the Packers. How much does the thing, if at all, move or get? The Packers obviously 9.5 is where they're sitting, I believe. Right now, we were talking about that a little bit earlier. Now it's 9.5 across the board. Some will say 5.5, depending on which one you're looking at. But the Packers should win this one almost going away, I would assume.
Yeah, Hoyer isn't. Hoyer's not going to win the game. The Patriots aren't going to win this game, but Hoyer is 21-17 against the spread as a starter in his career. He can keep the game close. He cannot lose you the game by himself. They're not going to score a lot of points in this one. But there's a Belichick off a loss angle that everyone loves to play. There's just a lot to like catching this many points. And one of the biggest is points are so valuable in a game with a low total because less scoring, you want to have those points in your back pocket. Underdogs in games with totals below 42 have absolutely crushed in the last 5 years. And if you look in the first half of the season, which we're in right now, they're covering 2/3 of the time. So New England is a very good candidate in that regard. They could get absolutely demolished. And by the end of the game, you thought, oh, they only lost by 9. They could be down, 16, 17, 21 for most of the game. And then suddenly, that backdoor is going to swing wide open when you're getting 9.5.
Matt, great stuff as always, man. Some stuff to think about. We certainly appreciate it. We're going to talk again on Monday, okay?
Good luck, everybody.
There you go. Matt Mitchell, the Action Network. You can find him at Old Boy Uncle Mitch. You can go to the Action Network. It's brought to you by our friends at Potawatomi. Don't forget about right now. They got it going on. $500K in Oktoberfest. Oktoberfest Saturdays. Go to paysbig.com for all the info. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Milwaukee Brewers blew a chance to take a lead in the battle for the final NL wildcard spot last night with a 4-2 loss to Miami. The Crew led 2-0 into the 8th inning before Freddie Peralta served up a grand slam to a former Milwaukee slugger, Avisail Garcia. With the loss, Milwaukee is once again just a half game back with 6 to play as the Crew and Marlins meet again tonight at American Family Field. To the NFL, Packers wide receiver Romeo Doubs has been named the NFL Rookie of the Week for Week 3. Here's more from offensive coordinator Adam Stenovich on his 8 catches, 73 yards, and first touchdown in the Packers win over Tampa.
He had his opportunities. He made some big plays, which we know he's very capable of, and we're very excited about him, moving forward. He has those great hands, and he can do some good things once he catches the ball. So, yeah, it was really encouraging to see that. Hopefully there's a lot more of that to come.
Up next for the Packers, they welcome in the New England Patriots to Lambeau Field on Sunday. Now, Pats quarterback Mac Jones has reportedly suffered a high ankle sprain. He is telling his team, though, he thinks he still can play against the Packers. If not, most likely it will be backup quarterback Brian Hoyer for the 3:25 kickoff.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up, and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Tomorrow marks the return of Brett Bielema as the Fighting Illini of Illinois come to Camp Randall to take on the Wisconsin Badgers for an 11 a.m. kickoff. The Badgers are looking to move to 3-2 on the season and 1-1 in Big Ten play following their 52-21 loss to Ohio State. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
To the Bill Michaels Show. We are broadcasting live. We are here in La Crosse for Oktoberfest, which they just, I don't know if it was a cannon or what they fired off, but something blew over there. It might have been the tapping of the keg, for all I know, but the tapping of the golden keg was supposed to take place at 11, so my assumption that's what it was, but they got music starting to play now. And as you can see on the Bud Light live stream, fans continue to stream in, and this place is going to be packed. And about, they say, by noon today, it'll be elbow to elbow. So kind of like, standing in line, waiting to go through the detectors and get inside and see your favorite team up at Lambeau Field. Speaking of that, the voice of the Green Bay Packers, Wayne Larrivee, joining us on the hotline. Wayne, how you doing?
Good, Bill. How are you?
I am good. I would assume you've never been able to partake in Oktoberfest in La Crosse, have you?
No, I have not. It sounds great.
Yeah, it's something to be seen. There's no doubt about it. They're pros out here, Wayne. they if there was ever a professional drinking team, La Crosse would win. I don't doubt that.
They're the Ohio State of.
Yes, correct. You are right. Yeah. Hey, let's start with no Mac Jones, most likely. I know Bill Belichick is playing coy, but I can't for the life of me in any way, shape, or form see Mac Jones playing in this contest on Sunday. Can you?
No, I don't really. I mean, he hasn't practiced all week, and this is typical Belichick. They're leaving everybody a little bit of suspense, but there's no. I'd be shocked if he went out there and playing. Quite frankly, Bill, I hope he does because number one, he's not playing well, and number two, his mobility will be gone. He'll have no mobility. He'll be sitting back there.
The Packers coming into this game, defensively speaking, I'm not going to say they have an easy day of it because anytime you take a team lightly, you end up getting burned. But this is the next few games. Defensively speaking, I really look for the acceleration. I love what Devondre Campbell said about how Quay Walker is learning, and he's really good. He's sideline to sideline, and we're starting to feast, he said, and talking about the guys up front. The trenches have played extremely well, haven't they?
Yeah, they played well up front. The linebackers got their tackling issues taken care of last week, it looked like, and that led to better run defense. But I think the Patriots will come right after them on the ground. I think they'll be a ground-heavy offense. They have two good running backs that, not quite as explosive as Jones and Dillon, but, Stevenson and Harris are very good running backs, and they're going to run the football. There's no, why wouldn't you? I mean, Green Bay's giving up almost 5 yards to carry on the ground.
You look at the offense and Aaron Rodgers, and granted they don't have that prolific downfield passing. Does it bother you that the downfield passing capability right now, going deep, has not been there?
Yeah, no, they've really struggled in that regard, and understandably so, I suspect, because the guys downfield they have are new. Romeo Doubs has that ability. Certainly Christian Watson, who's missed most of it, has that ability. And, obviously they're losing Sammy Watkins doesn't help in that regard either because he has some downfield capability. So the downfield passing game, if you look at the numbers, Pro Football Focus, look at any metric you want to look at, Green Bay is not among the leaders in downfield passing.
When Aaron Rodgers talked about adjustments and halftime, which we all know are a little bit overblown, it's more of a fan discussion than it is anything, but there's something to be said for the amount of points, 30 points they've scored in the first half, 10 points they've scored in the second half, and it seems like after the first 20 plays, it seems to be somewhat of a struggle for this offense. How difficult, over the years and just what you've been through and talked to coaches about, how difficult it is to make an adjustment, to do something that was so good in the first 20 plays suddenly doesn't seem to work anymore. How easy is it not easy to make adjustments?
Well, it depends on who you're going against. If it's Tampa Bay and they shut you down, they basically take a look for 3 drives at what you're doing and then take it away. It's really hard to make an adjustment like that. But, Tampa Bay's a unique defense. They're probably overall from top to bottom the best defense in the league. But the thing about New England, they will scheme defense, and they have some good people up front. That's probably their secondary at safety is the strength of this team, and they have the number 1 rated shutdown corner in the league by Pro Football Focus, Jonathan Jones. So they've got capability. It's not going to be an easy day for the Packers.
Coming back and getting 35 snaps, I thought it was really a smart move to put him on a little bit of a pitch count and give him a breather in between. But now you got some decisions to make. If he continues to progress and looks really good, do you move Elton Jenkins back into guard, put Josh Nijman out at right tackle? I mean, I know Butkus was asked this. What is the likelihood that they do that? Because Matt LaFleur's always said we want to put our best 5 out there.
Yeah, and if your best 5, Josh Nijman is probably in that best 5. He's a tackle, and he's not going to play left tackle, but they move him over to the right side, and everyone says, well, he's not played right tackle. Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because it's time to go if that's how they decide to play it. Elton Jenkins' best position is guard. Put him in at right guard and go with that group. I think they're going to be either way. It's a nice problem to have. You'd leave Elton at right tackle as well and just go that way with Josh being a swing tackle off the bench. So there are a number of things you can do, but they have versatility and they have very good people. And I think within 4 weeks, this will be one of the top offensive lines in the game.
I know you got to run here in a couple of minutes. One more question, and that is the involvement of Robert Tonyan. Tonyan coming back from injury. He's starting to look like he's a little bit more himself. How much more do we see him kind of integrated into the offense?
I think, each week you've got to see a little bit more of that, and I think you will. And it's a matter of him. He's going through the final hurdle. It's not physical, it's mental. When you come back from an injury like he's had, as he explained yesterday, it's a mental hurdle. And that sometimes is harder to overcome than the physical hurdle. But he took a pretty good hit on that leg in Tampa and popped up fine, no pain. And so now it's a matter of can he just focus on not worrying about whether he can do what he once did, but going out and doing it.
Wayne, always good, buddy. I'll see you up there on Sunday.
All right, take care, Bill. Don't have a pop or two for me, will you?
You know I will. Thanks, Wayne.
Right.
Talk to you, buddy. There you go. Wayne Larrivee, the voice of the Green Bay Packers, joining us for a couple of minutes. It just popped up. Zach Cox, who we had on the air with us earlier this week from NESN, said the Patriots might not be able to make the final call on Mac Jones until shortly before kickoff. They say, quote, he could be a game-time decision. I don't believe he's going to play, but I think this is very much Bill Belichick being extremely coy. It appears the Boston Herald's Karen Gergen reported today that inside sources say he's making progress and he wants to play. They say it will be a, quote, game-time decision. He will undergo further treatment later this afternoon. And also on Saturday, backup Brian Hoyer still expected to get the start against the Packers after taking all of the first-team reps in practice this week. But the Patriots have not made that determination as of yet. Jones has been encouraged by the process and the progress that he has made, according to this report. And head coach Bill Belichick, as we all know, won't say anything. He won't even tell you what color his dog is. But nevertheless, it appears that Mac Jones is doing everything he can to try to come back to play in Green Bay this weekend. This is being reported by both Zach Cox, who is also taking the Boston Herald's Karen Gergen in her report from earlier this morning. So just an update there on Mac Jones. I still, again, I would be somewhat surprised if he plays. I mean, I'm not saying he won't, but I'm thinking 99.9% of me says there's no way in hell that he takes the field after seeing what agony he was in coming off the field last Sunday. So if you heard the boom behind me, that was the first one when Wayne came on with us was the welcome. The second one, the boom, was the tapping of the golden keg, which is now
take something.
which is now taking place, and officially Oktoberfest is underway. The beer is flowing, and the brats are being made. I will tell you this. And I am perched, maybe I can go outside and take a selfie or something, but I'm perched up in what's called the chalet. So when you first walk into the Oktoberfest grounds out here, there's a chalet. I am upstairs, and there's a balcony behind me. You can see over my shoulder the balcony. That's the live look on the Bud Light live stream of people coming into the entrance area. And it's obviously packed, and people take off work, and this is quite the to-do out here. And then right behind me, that is right there. That is the entertainment area that you have. But off in the distance behind that brown building and that white peak, if you see it, is the main stage, the big stage. And that's where they just tap the keg. So the bands behind me, right directly behind me, are going to start playing here shortly. But my point being is that we are here on the grounds. We're going to be here all day. We're going to be out mingling around, saying hello. And thanks to our friends at WKTY out here locally and Midwest Family Broadcasting for bringing the Bill Michaels Show out here. And we are enjoying ourselves. It's a lot of fun. Really good time. So there you have it. Ben, anything else you need to update me on real quick, or you just kind of like watching like everybody else right now? Because the stream numbers have been huge.
I'm watching. I'm concerned. I'm glad that the show is going and is still on the rails. The chair you're sitting in does look like a Middle Eastern prince,
right?
Something along those lines.
Okay, let me do this. Hold on. Let me get out of this thing. Okay, I almost flipped it over. It doesn't even do it justice. But this chair, look, I'm 6'6". Look at how tall that chair is. This chair is huge. It's literally like a red throne. Look at that. For those that are on the Bud Light live stream, you're getting this. For those that are listening, you're probably going, "What the hell?" But
riveting radio.
It's terrible radio. I admit that. But look at that. It's red felt, red like a red velvet, and it's got the crown top on it, and it's a throne. It's like a big golden with red velvet throne. I feel like I should be wearing pantaloons or something like that, sitting in this thing. But it's awesome. It is. It's awesome. I've never sat. The old adage is, "I'm going to sit on the throne." Well, now I'm actually sitting on a throne. It's kind of cool. Never done that before. I got to get this for the office. Yeah, it's comfortable. I'm liking it. 877-867-1670. Hey, by the way, we were talking earlier about Tua. This one's from Zach. Zach says, I have never seen anybody wobbled like he was in the Buffalo game that said it was my back. Everybody else grabs their back, grabs the back of their legs, grabs the back of their knees, or grabs their hips. Nobody has ever fallen to the ground and said, it's my back. We all know he was concussed. Shame on the NFL for even allowing this to happen. This has become an embarrassment. Again, who do you blame? Roger Goodell wasn't on the sideline. The NFL has protocols that have been put in place as much as, and I get the NFLPA has I don't always agree with the stuff that the NFLPA wants to defend, because there are times when they defend the most egregious actions. It's kind of like being a lawyer and you get handed a guy that everybody saw shoot somebody. Oh! Fireworks
Speaking
going
of,
up. How about that? Fireworks are happening. This is awesome. Yeah, see a little smoke in the air there. So, but the NFLPA has to, appeal to and protect everybody. But in this particular case, while sometimes I don't agree with them, I agree with them on this one. They need to go after the Miami Dolphins. And the NFL should be investigating the Miami Dolphins and their sideline as well, because this, I believe, was egregious to allow him to not only continue to play in the game against the Buffalo Bills, but also to even think about coming back and playing against Cincinnati last night, which now it's as obvious gets. So it's extremely unfortunate that the health became secondary to winning the game in this day and age for the NFL. We know it used to. We know that it was the old, hey, it hurts, go in, shoot them up, give them some pills, put them back out there on the field type of thing. Or waving your fingers in front of guys' eyes and going, hey, you got your bell rung, rub some dirt on it, get back out there. We've come so far, and it seems like throughout this process, it's reverted back. So it's getting to be a rowdy crowd. Can you hear that down there?
Yes, I can. My finger is hovering over the dump button. I'm scared at what's going to be spoken. This is a high-stress day for someone like me.
Yeah?
Plus, the Phillies are playing in about 45 minutes, so I'm enjoying my last hour of calm and happiness.
This is a Friday, man. It feels like it's a Saturday to me. I don't know why. It just does. It feels like it's like at any point in time, we're going to get kickoff of the Badger game. I'm going to go down and drink. Going to go down and hang out for a little while. Have myself a giant Bavarian pretzel that I have to stick my head through and eat my way out of. That's what it feels like. It feels like a Saturday. It doesn't even feel like a Friday to me. I don't know why. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. Hopefully you're enjoying the madness that is. Oh, Riggs says, that's not a throne. It's a pimp chair. I'm feeling good about that. I'm Snoop Dogging it. For shizzle.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, I'm having fun, man. This is awesome. I'm having fun.
Get the hell off the show.
Right? Yes. For shizzle. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin SportsZone Radio Network.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others. I'm in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in.
Never
They're
understood
providing
shooting
children
off
with
fireworks
special
in the
space where
daytime,
they
but
can not only
I like the
sleep,
boom. I'll
they
tell you
can
that.
play, they can
You
heal,
can't see
they can
'em.
spend time away from the challenges of their illness.
There you have
It's
it.
a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or a pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine. A place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org.
That was
That is
cringy.
specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Our friends over at Forgotten Fire Winery say, look, wine is not normally the Oktoberfest, but they do have cider. They have ciders over there as well. That's ForgottenFireWinery.com. ForgottenFireWinery.com in Peshtigo. And you can go up there and do a tasting. They have some wines, reds, whites, rosés, ciders. Oh, they got all kinds of good stuff over there. And they are encouraging you. Hey, just go enjoy it. Doesn't matter. If you want to do it with your beer, do it with your beer. If you want to throw some ice in it, throw ice in it. If you'd like the ciders, do the cider. They've won awards. The awards are great, but they're not snooty. They're not like, hey, you got to drink our wine the right way we tell you to. No, go enjoy it, man. Go have fun. That's what they're all about. So look for them, whether it's in wine stores, liquor stores, grocery stores, whatever it happens to be. That is Forgotten. ForgottenFireWinery.com. That is ForgottenFireWinery.com. Good stuff. Ben Kenny, it is time to make some predictions for the weekend. We already talked about the Badgers. I think the Badgers, if I had to pick, or the Packers, if I had to pick the Packers to cover at 9.5, it started out at 5.5. But if I had to pick the Packers to cover the 9.5, it's hard because the offense has not been prolific. So I'm going to pick the Patriots to cover, believe it or not, even with Brian Hoyer. I think they just score a touchdown or two, or much like last week where they'll do, 12 points, 15 points, whatever, something like that. I think the Packers are maybe 22 to 24 points, possibly, but I'm you're giving me 9.5 for a Patriots team with a head coach that figures out ways to, one, keep it close, and two, defensively stymie you. So I'm taking the Patriots in the 9.5 points.
Yeah, Matt Mitchell definitely made a good argument about Belichick, on the road after a loss against the spread, all that stuff. I think there's such thing as a comfortable win that also doesn't include a cover where they could do everything you need to see them do, yet the Patriots still sneak in the back door. Yeah. I'm going to stick with it, though. I think it is comfortable. I think the Packers win by a lot. This kind of was the time last year we saw them really get going and hit the ground running after some runway games, if you will, before the plane really got into the air. Right. So I think this is one of the first ones. I think it is a 31-13 is the score I've given.
31-13? Okay, you got 31-13. I'm going to take a little bit less than that. I'm going to take 24-15 and make it the 9. I think the 9.5 will get them. So I'm going to take the Patriots to cover, but not by maybe that half point. So that's kind of the direction I'm going to go. And then you got the Badgers this weekend, and I don't know what to make of this Badgers team right now. I mean, after getting beat by Washington State and then getting absolutely dump truck and boat raced by Ohio State, it doesn't give me a lot of faith. I don't have a lot of faith in Brett Bielema's team to do anything for that matter, but nevertheless, the Badgers are going to win the game. It would not surprise me if they won by a boatload. But right now, what is it? Is it a 7-point? Because I know it started out at 9, and now it's down to 7. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ben.
Yes, it is 7.
Yeah. I'm going to take the Badgers to cover. I think the Badgers 27-14.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah, 27-14, 24-14, something like that. But I'm going to take the Badgers to cover. I don't think the Badgers get over 30. Their offense just isn't prolific enough. But I think if they do get a lead, they begin to run the ball. They're not a team that runs away with. And that's the other thing. I mean, if this team has the capability at some point on some of these Big Ten teams, I know traditionally Paul Chryst has not run the score up. I think at this point in time, you to get to a level of respectability you want to be at, I think you got, if you have the ability, you got to dump truck some of these teams. And I'd love to see them if they could. And you finally get that offense rolling, I would continue to do it and take additional chances and let Graham Mertz just see what the kid's got. Just let him just go. Just throw it out there. But you got to get a big lead to begin with. So, but I'm going to say just because we have seen this offense be so stymied, something like 24, 27, 10, 14, something like that. But I think the Badgers cover and win.
So, I mean, similar to the Packers, this was after a slow start last year when we saw the Badgers really get going, especially Braylon Allen, 24-0 at Illinois. And then they kind of hit the ground going before getting hit at Minnesota and losing there. I think they win, but so last night on Kenny and Heilprin, we made our picks. And last week, I went 0 for 5. I missed every game I picked. I missed the Badgers game. I don't think I've hit one Badger spread this year. So for that reason, I'm taking Illinois +7 to cover, which means Wisconsin will win easily. The old reverse jinx mush action for me. I think out of all the time, this is when they need to turn it around. The defense, the linebacking core has to play better. It's a much better matchup for them. It's going to be hard to throw the ball, I think, on Illinois secondary. They're very strong in the back end, but Wisconsin should have the advantage, their O-line versus Illinois' front, and then hopefully Braylon Allen runs wild. The biggest thing I'm watching, though, is not the offense, honestly. I feel okay about it. It's how does the defense tackle? Can the defense take what happened last week and throw it out and actually look like a very competent and dominant group? Right. So if that unit can play well, I think they'll win. But then there is the variable of turnovers and penalties, which honestly both teams have had trouble with so far this season. They better win. Yeah, I guess that's my official stance.
Oh, I know.
They cannot lose this game.
Yeah, no, I agree. They better win. No doubt about it. They had better win this game. If they don't win this game, if they don't win, it doubly damages if they lose this game and lose to Brett Bielema. Not that Brett Bielema is holding anything over their head at this point because he's just a former coach and who cares, Had it been a year or two, like say when he goes to Arkansas and then all of a sudden Arkansas is scheduled to play Wisconsin like the next year or the year after, it would be a bigger deal. And a lot of the people that are even going to Wisconsin now that are attending the university, they weren't even there when Brett Bielema was the coach. You know what I mean? They don't have that vested interest. They don't have that memory that that's long.
They didn't even know he was the head coach, let alone remember how it ended. I can speak for myself. I've always known who he was as a fan of the sport. But when I came to Madison, I didn't know the passionate, not hate, but dislike there with how he left.
Yeah, it's like, for those of us that remember, okay, that's a big deal. But beyond that, it's not this huge efforting thing, so to speak. So, not overly concerned about it when it comes to that. But it would be for those that have a long memory, such as boosters. If they lose to Bielema, I think it's a big deal. I think it accelerates things as far as the stiff eye that's overlooking the fence that is the possibility of a job for Paul Chryst or the lack thereof. So I think they need this one. I think they need to get themselves back on track. They need to get a good, solid win. Don't just hang on, but a good, solid win. So I'm taking the Badgers to get a good win in this one. So no doubt. We are scheduled to get Mark Ouimet, and I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, Mark Ouimet, and we'll find out when he gets here. But he is the Oktoberfest president, and he is scheduled to join us coming up here in just a few. Also, we got Matt LaFleur coming up, who was just at the podium. You're going to hear from the head coach of the Packers on the final day of practice, getting ready for the New England Patriots. So all of that coming up. We'll have one, the other, all of it, who knows, and I told you I would tell you coming up. It's a little weird. It's a little vulgar. It is the front desk person when I checked in yesterday who, again, a chapter of my book will be dedicated to this of stuff blank, not stuff, but S that only happens to me.
I really don't care.
Yeah, it was just bizarre. It was bizarre. It's just one of those things, and maybe it's just because some people do attract weirdness. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I attract weirdness. So I get it. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. More of the Bill Michaels Show live out here at Oktoberfest in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Look at the crowd. Look at the crowd down below. They're still just lined up. They're still coming. Still coming in. Big crowd here today. Stay tuned. We got more after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin SportsZone Radio Network.
Gina Della from Pella here. Wayne Larrivee and his wife Julie took advantage of our wide range of beautiful wood designs that can be painted, stained, or unfinished to complement any decor.
We have a lot of windows in this house. You match the craftsmanship of the woodwork around those windows to a T. That's a talented group of people doing that.
We like our wood tones, and so the ability to have wood tones some places and the white windows others, it worked really well for us and allowed us to have exactly what we wanted.
Pella's team of expert installers always provides service of the highest quality, starting with an in-home consultation and ending with no hassle or mess, leaving nothing but perfect results that stand the test of time. We have the best wood warranty in the industry to prove it. There's no reason to wait any longer because right now, put no money down, make no payments, and be charged 0 interest for up to 24 months. At Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Get started today at PellaWI.com.
Expires 9/30/2022. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you on board. Bill Michaels Show. We are broadcasting live. We are high atop Oktoberfest in the chalet here on the Oktoberfest grounds in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Got people down below taking a listen to the program. We appreciate that. And the crowd by the entertainment tent is starting to file in after they tapped the golden keg a little earlier. And Fest is now officially underway. And for those of you watching on the Bud Light live stream, you can see the crowd as they continue to pour into the Oktoberfest grounds here in La Crosse. Matt LaFleur, by the way, real quick, Mac Jones is at practice today. Helmet, jersey. He's throwing But as of right now, we don't know if he's actually participating in practice or just there, but he's in a helmet, he's in his jersey, he's in the shorts, and he's throwing. So we don't know what that's indicative of at this point, but the reports were coming out of New England that he wants to play. It will be a, quote, game time decision, but I still, with the way he left the field and that agonizing scream when he sprained that high ankle sprain that he had, I would be still shocked that if he played this coming week. And then, like I said, whether he does or he doesn't, the bottom line, if he doesn't, he's not mobile. If he does, or if he does play, he's not mobile. If he doesn't, then you're still getting Brian Hoyer. So it is what it is. And I still think the Packers win. But nevertheless, it just depends on who the Packers may or may not be facing. That being said, Matt LaFleur was at the podium just a little while ago. Let's take a listen to what the head coach had to say.
Yeah, we'll see when we get out there if he can go, and we're hopeful that he can practice today.
Yeah, what do you think about Jonathan Jones, who's kind of migrated up the depth chart to be the number one guy now?
Yeah, no, another solid player. They got a ton of great players on this football team, very well balanced, and so yeah, we're gonna have our work cut out for us, and we got to do a great job collectively as a whole unit to give us the best chance to win.
Friday practices this time of year, how much of it is still install for, and how much of it is just review of what you put in so far?
It changes week to week. Oh yeah, week to week in terms of you're always going to try to give yourself the best opportunity or how you think you best should attack somebody, whether it's offensively, defensively, or on special teams. I think specifically talking offense and defense, today is usually the concentration is more on the red zone. So every team has a little bit of a different identity down there. So yeah, you're always trying to draw from your menu and not get too crazy with a bunch of new plays, but hopefully we have a big enough menu, whether it's offensively, defensively, to give our guys a chance to have success down there.
Allen's limited participation. How much of that is Allen? How much is pain management versus precautionary, just to not make the ankle worse?
Are you talking about in practice? Yeah, I mean, again, that's day to day. He's been doing a nice job, and I know he's getting better, but he's a tough guy, and you can see it in the way he plays. You can see it on a daily basis. Just how gritty of a dude he is. He brings so much to our football team, and certainly we want him at full strength. That makes us a better offense for sure.
Dave, decide whether it's a good week to practice in pads or not? I mean, is it based on how he feels each week, or are you going to probably try to keep him out of pads?
It's like the wind; it could change week to week. I don't know. I just listen. Well, it's not totally up to him, but certainly he's got a big say-so in it. I trust Dave. We trust Dave, and we're in constant communication in terms of what is the best plan for him to try to get him back to where he can go out there and play a full game. So, but it could definitely change. I told you guys the other day, we're pretty fluid around here, and I would see the same with that situation.
The other day, I think it was Clay was saying, what's the biggest difference so far? He goes, I've got more free time. Like, what? And what he was talking about was he doesn't have to worry about 4 or 5 classes, writing reports, taking an exam, that kind of thing. But you must be aware of that every year, the transition to these guys about the independent study on film, right? Between a leader like a Kenny Clark or a position coach.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a big part of it. And for a lot of young players, it's just about finding your rhythm, your process, how you can go out there and prepare to the best of your ability so you can go out and play to the best of your ability. And I think there's a learning curve for most players. Some of these guys pick it up a little bit quicker than others. And certainly you're trying to if you have great veterans in a room, which we do, thankfully, you want the young guys to learn from those older veterans. Like Devondre Campbell's a great example, how he prepares for each and every game.
How did Christian look yesterday, going full participation?
He looked pretty good. So we'll see how, he responds today and where he's at.
Spend any time looking at the Super Bowl against the Rams this week? And one of the reasons is, what do you do in that situation where a team comes out and that's a man team and all of a sudden they're playing zone, which is kind of what they did in that game? How do you handle something like that?
You got to adjust. Yeah, certainly well aware of, I'm not going to tell you which games we did and did not watch, but well aware of just the history with them. Certainly, I told you I haven't been a part of teams that have gone against the New England Patriots too many times, but we did in 2016, did in 2018, when I was 1 year in Washington. But so it's just, we know that the challenges that exist, I'd say, and you better be able to adjust quickly and have some plays that are good versus whatever they want to come out and try to do to you, because he's one of the best at whatever you do well. We know they're going to try to take it away.
You've had that before though, right? Like I can't remember what game it was that Aaron was talking about, how a team was either a man team and then they came out playing zone the whole game. I mean, does that happen several times a year?
I feel like it's happened more here than any place I've ever been. And I think it's a byproduct of just some of the pieces we've had in the past. And then also Aaron, guys don't want to give him the same look. And so I think you kind of plan ahead for a lot of different situations and just make sure you have answers for whatever an opponent's going to do to you. And, hopefully you recognize and make the adjustments quick enough in order to have some success on the offense side of the ball.
The Coaches versus Cancer initiative. What does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, you're talking about a thing that affects many people in this world. And so just, the awareness for that, obviously it's, I'm sure it's affected most people in this room at some stage or at some level. And, you want to bring light to it. And, your health is one thing that you can never take for granted. There's nothing more important than that. So hopefully, we can continue to donate the resources or whatever, put the resources forward to find a cure for cancers.
There you go.
Right, thanks. Have a good one.
There you go. Matt LaFleur, head coach of the Green Bay Packers, talking to the media and going over a lot there that gives you a little bit of a tease that could possibly you get Jair. He talks about Bakhtiari and the fact that Bakhtiari will continue to up, obviously, the pitch count when he's back. Not going to tell you about the offensive line, not going to give you repositioning and such. Does talk about the fact that Bill Belichick, and we talked about this before, that Bill Belichick, when it comes to being a masterful head coach, the majority of coaches, when you talk to them about scheming and game plans, you say you want to attack the weakness. You want to attack what that team does not do well. You want to attack their weakness. Bill Belichick, he wants to attack your strength. Take away what you do so well and bring you down to a level that they can beat you. Not necessarily try to attack your weakness and be better at something than you, but bring you down to a level that they can beat you. So even Matt LaFleur alluded to the fact that, hey, look, since Brady left, obviously the success hasn't been the same, but still he will do things to, slow you down. It's not going to be a track meet. It's they're going to try to put you in cement and let you try to run that way. And you may outrun them, but it's not going to be by the boat race, usually margin of victory that sometimes you would expect by a team that has lesser talent. So it's interesting to listen to the way coaches approach Bill Belichick. He is still, without Brady and without all the weapons and without all the pomp and circumstance, he's still an extremely respected coach. Let's do this. We're going to step away. We're going to take a quick break. We're broadcasting live. We're out here at Oktoberfest. We're in La Crosse, Wisconsin. It got underway a little while ago officially. Last night was the craft beer night and entertainment. We had a terrific time. Today, it is Festa. Festa, we're just going to have a good time hanging out after the show today and hanging here this evening and getting through downtown and walking around La Crosse, the parade tomorrow and such. So it's a good time, and it's all underway. And the weather looks to be beautiful. So even if you're in, say, even at Green Bay or up in Tomahawk or down in Milwaukee or down in our friends down there, say Peshtigo or something like that, if you're up there near WMAM, it doesn't matter. Yeah, come on out to the fest out here. It's a great time. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin SportsZone Radio Network.
Get your grill on. How about those ribeyes, chuck roast, burgers, wieners delivered right to your doorstep? Go to SchulzyFamilyBeef.com. That's SchulzyFamilyBeef.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, in Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
It's the Packers and the Patriots, 3:25 Sunday here at Lambeau Field. The Packers defense is number 1 in the league right now on getting stops on third down. What is linebacker Rashawn Gary looking forward to the most heading into week number 4?
Oh, man, we just getting excited for another opportunity. Lambeau, fans, please come out and make it louder than what I did last home game. It was great. So, please come. Sell out Lambeau how y'all normally do and be the great fans y'all put cheese on everything.
Aaron Rodgers was asked, what does he think about the Patriots' speedy outside linebacker, Matthew Judon?
He's a great player. He's got 3 sacks and 91's got 4. So they got a good pass rush. Plus, they give you a ton of different looks, with empty pressures and adjustments, delayed blitzes, spying, a lot of different things they can do. We got to be aware of where he's at because he's a game wrecker.
Later in Foxborough, Judon held a press conference.
Aaron Rodgers knows who you are. He mentioned you, Dietrich Wise, when he was talking about the Patriots. Is there any part of you that's like itching to go after him?
He should know who I am. He got to play me, man. So with the most respect to Aaron Rodgers as I can, I think he watched film and he know who we are and we know who he is. And regardless if Aaron's playing or Jordan's playing, regardless of who behind the center, we trying to get after him. He knows that. We know that. Him knowing my name or him not knowing my name ain't going to really have any effect of me doing my job. I'm out there to do a job and get whoever got the ball on the ground. But, shouts out to Aaron Rodgers for knowing my name, I guess.
That's Patriots linebacker Matthew Judon in Green Bay. I'm Mike Clemens on The Bill Michaels Show.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. We are here. We are at Oktoberfest. Somebody downstairs yelling, woo! Love it. Here in the chalet, as you walk through the main entrance, we are perched high atop up here. And good to be here in La Crosse. It is awesome. You can see on the Bud Light live stream people looking up down below. And then, there you can see the people coming in, the people standing around down below as the entertainment's going to get ready to get underway here shortly. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at QuikTrip, which, by the way, La Crosse, Wisconsin, the home of QuikTrip. And they have the opening drive sweepstakes. You can purchase any of QuikTrip's fully guaranteed gasolines and with your Quick Rewards card, and you're automatically entered. One weekly winner is going to win a $10 gas card for every yard the Packers earn on the opening drive. QuikTrip is a proud partner of Packers football. So what you're hoping for is that they bring it out to the 1 yard line and then they go 99 yards for a touchdown. And oh my goodness, 99 yards. How about that? $10 for each yard. You do the math. Good stuff from our friends over there at QuikTrip. And they, by the way, the QuikTrip people. So the QuikTrip people, we normally see when we're out here, like the whole Brain Trust. And they apparently in meetings. They're not at Oktoberfest this year. They're at meetings out in Vegas. A little disappointed. But, hey, we still appreciate the fact that they bring us out here as well with our friends from WKTY Radio and to support the program. And thanks to QuikTrip for being a part of it. By the way, as Mark says, that's $999. You better believe I'm in on the QuikTrip opening drive contest. Well, good stuff. Thank you very much. This one is from a little earlier. This is from Robert, who said, Bill, I've had it with the Brewers. The manager savant, Craig Counsell, outsmarts himself yet again. When a guy is cruising, mowing down the opposition, begs to stay in the game, and then you remove him for some fictitious pitch count. WTF, he did it to Corbin Burns several weeks ago. I don't care if the starter goes 4 or 5. Placeholder in the 7th, setup man in the 8th, closer in the 9th. You have to ride out the hot horse at that point. You can't afford to throw away a single game, and that's exactly what he did. Our pitchers, so fragile now. They can't even pitch an extra inning. If your reliever is shutting them down, go with it. Give them an extra day of rest after that. If your reliever is smoking, who cares about the righty-lefty matchup? You got to just do it. I agree with you. I agree with you. I don't know what else to say. I think last night they blew it. And this whole thing, it's not about whether or not a pitcher is fragile to go in extra innings. What it's about is the familiarity. Statistically is what they look at, that teams will see you for a second time and then a third time. They are more likely to hit you and hit you hard on the third appearance at the plate versus you. It doesn't mean your velocity is going down or your junk is good or not. It just means that the familiarity they have with you on the third time around gives them statistically a better opportunity to hit you. So that's the reason a lot of managers will pull you after 2 rounds through the lineup, because they don't want you to have that statistic that goes way up for the familiarity factor for the likelihood of a base hit or a home run or what have you. That's the reason they did it. That's the reason they did it. Dale, how you doing, Dale? Dale says, give me a shout out. Dale, you the man. You the man. But that's the reason they do it. I agree with you. I think it sucked. Last night was a bad move. I get it. You would do it all the time. They always say I would never second guess myself, but understand it. Last night, not a night to say you're smarter than the average bear. Sometimes when guys are doing what they're supposed to do, let guys do what they're supposed to do. Got a couple more hours yet to go. Don't forget, final hour of the program today. Mike Clemens is going to be joining us up in Green Bay. We are live. We are in La Crosse, Wisconsin. It's Oktoberfest. We're festive. Look at everybody down below. You can see them on the cameras. Kind of looking up here. There's probably a tasting or something going on underneath. There are people lining up. A lot of beer flowing here. Or they're just standing in line to see something that doesn't exist. I really don't know. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers putting the finishing touches on their game plan for Sunday's matchup with New England. They're doing so with the knowledge that Patriots quarterback Mac Jones unlikely to play due to an ankle injury, though he was on the field for the start of practice this morning. Still likely that veteran Brian Hoyer will get the start. Injury-wise for the Packers, we'll get a final injury report later today, but the team should have tackles David Bakhtiari and Elton Jenkins, along with wide receiver Christian Watson. The more uncertain name, Jair Alexander, the all-pro cornerback, did not practice yesterday, but was expected to today. He figures to be listed as questionable. Kick on Sundays at 3:25. Turn to the Badgers. They're going to host Illinois tomorrow morning at Camp Randall Stadium, getting marked the return of former coach Brett Bielema to Madison. He spent 9 years with the Badgers before bolting for Arkansas after the 2012 season. Bielema, second in UW history with 68 wins. Coach Paul Chris can tie him with a win tomorrow. Both teams come into the game 0-1 in Big Ten play, with the Illini falling to Indiana and Badgers getting hammered by Ohio State. Kick tomorrow is at 11 a.m.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up, and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Well, the Brewers blew a chance to take a lead in the race for the final wild card spot last night thanks to a 4-2 loss to Miami. Milwaukee led 2-0 in the eighth when Freddie Peralta served up a grand slam to former Brewers slugger Abisail Garcia. Brewers offense couldn't muster a response in their at-bats. Left the crew sitting a half game back of Philadelphia for the final wild card spot with 6 games to go. Milwaukee can host Miami again tonight. Phillies are in Washington, and the Bucs can open their preseason tomorrow night against Memphis. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Hour number 3 of the Bill Michaels Show. We are perched high atop the Oktoberfest grounds here in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Good to be here. Thanks to WKTY, our station out here, our affiliate, and Midwest Family Broadcasting bringing us out here. Got here last night and had a really fun time, and did the craft beer tasting last evening. And then after that, we ended up, doing a little, had to eat a little bit, and then after that, went back to bed because we got up early this morning, and over at Sloopy's alma mater, where they did the tapping of the golden can, which is kind of funny in itself because they put a wrap, and I have the picture of it posted over on the Facebook fan page, the Sloopy's tapping of the golden can. They wrap it in like this gold sticker, and it's really it's a Mick Ultra. But they wrap it in this golden stick. It's just tradition. It's great. And they have just a big party in the morning, and you can go over to the Facebook fan page and see the videos and the countdown to the tapping and everything. And it was a lot of fun. It really, really was. And then after that, came over here to the Oktoberfest grounds, got set up, and then they did the tapping of the golden keg at 11 a.m. this morning promptly. And we will talk actually coming up here at 12:30. Mark Womet 12:35, the president of Oktoberfest will join us then. And then don't forget the last hour of the program, Mike Clemens is going to be joining us. So, and thanks to everybody over on the Bud Light live stream as well. We got a lot of people watching in and out today. The numbers will go way up, and then they'll come down, and then they'll go up, and they'll come down. But good to have you. Good to have you. Dale, how are we looking? He was wanting to know if the Brewers are even in the playoffs yet. No, they're not. No, they're not. And they're not doing anything fast to get there, let's say. Last night, Brewers had a golden opportunity and just let it go by the wayside. Back at it again today. 7:10 tonight. Marlins are in town. Corbin Burns on the hill. And hopefully they can get a win because we know that the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Washington Nationals. That is a game that should be getting underway here in just about a minute or two. Right, Ben?
Yes, doubleheader today in Washington.
So they're going to be playing 2 today, and if you're a Brewers fan, you're hoping the Phillies go down not once but twice, and the Brewers get a win. And if you're a Phillies fan, you're just praying for something to happen that's in the positive light. Beyond that, nada.
Cancel the season. That's what I'm praying for.
So there you have it. So I was telling the story earlier, and I will get into some of the things that we're going to hear from a couple of the different guys inside that locker room for the Packers. That's upcoming here in just a few. So stay tuned. We'll do some of that stuff because we're going to hear from Adam Stenovich, Joe Barry, Richard Bisaccia, Jason Vrabel, the wide receivers coach, Tom Clements, the quarterbacks coach. We're going to hear from all of them coming up here in a minute. But I was saying this earlier today. So in the book, in the chapter that S stuff will say that only happens to me. So when you check into a hotel, everybody's usually pretty friendly. There's not craziness or anything like that. Welcome, glad to have you. And then they tell you about the pool, and they tell you the hours of the fitness center, and they tell you about the breakfast in the morning, and they hand you your card, and off you go. So yesterday, and I'm not going to say which hotel, but I pull into the hotel, and it's over in Minnesota, by the way. So at least I can say this is a Minnesotan and not somebody from Crosse, from Wisconsin. So I get there, and first of all, the reservation they had made in the company's name and not in my name, and so there was a little bit of a mix-up there. So it took me a minute or two to get the confirmation number. We've all been there and done that. So we get in. And now Kristen is waiting in the car. Let me say this because this is pertinent to the story. Kristen's waiting in the car. I'm going to check in, and then we'll pull the bags out, and then I'll go park the car. But she's waiting in the car. So I walk in, and Ben, you've seen my phone, right? Kristen is like the screensaver on my phone.
Yeah, not an iPhone, which, again, is a problem.
Yeah, well, okay. We'll get into that in a minute. Okay, so I'm sitting there talking to this guy, and he is amped up. He's talking to a couple other people when I get there. There's nobody at the front desk, but there's a couple people within the lobby. And he's talking to somebody, and clearly she works there, and she's off duty, and he's talking about singing songs. And, he says, hi, welcome. And I'm like, hey, how you doing? And he's talking, then I'll go back to talking to this other woman, and he's talking to her about some shift or something. And he's like, and he turns to me and he goes, sing a song. I'm like, what? He's like, you can sing. And, I'm like, no, I'm thinking row, row, row your boat at this minute. There's nothing that comes to mind when you're put on the spot like that. So then he checks me in, and out of the blue, Ben, I kid you not. Now, I looked at my phone because I had to look up the confirmation number on my phone. So I'm looking at my phone, and I finally pull it up, and I set it down. And the screen is still, open on my phone. So you can see the screensaver. It hasn't gone dark yet because my phone's set for 20 seconds or something. So he stops in because I'm going through the paperwork. You got to sign here and this and that. He's like, wait a minute. He's like, dude. And he points at my phone. And he says to me, oh, you're so into that. I'm like, what? And he's pointing at the picture of Kristen. Now, it's a formal picture of Kristen in a dress, okay? And he's like, dude. Like, okay. You know, is that your girlfriend? Yeah. Oh, man. All right. It's just awkward, you know? Then he goes immediately into how he met his wife and she's so hot, and that's the reason Dahmer was never going to catch him. I'm like, what? And then it dawned on me, because obviously Dahmer cruised what was then known as kind of the gay area of Milwaukee. And I'm like, I'm putting it together, but this guy's just all over the road. And he's like, oh, man, Dahmer, man, scared me. I was a kid. I grew up in that area. That whole thing right there, that's my girlfriend. She was hot, too. That's the reason Dahmer didn't get me. Am I describing this enough for you to be shaking your head and grinning and going, what the hell, Ben?
Yeah, what in the world is up with this guy?
I'm not done. I'm not done with you. So I'm like, okay. What are you supposed to say to that, right? So I said, okay. And he's like, okay, man. And he starts to go through the spiel, you know, breakfast tomorrow morning. And then on Saturday, they do a bigger breakfast. And here's the pool. And here's the hours for this.
Wait, this is the guy that works there?
He's the front desk guy.
I thought it was some drunk dude standing next to you.
No, he's the front desk guy. So he's talking to me about this. So I'm like, okay, man, I appreciate it. He's like, okay, you're going to rock that stay. Rock that stay. Okay, man. Talk to you later. So
Jim Rome.
And I'm right. And so I walk away and I'm like, holy crap. You know, and I turn, it's one of those where you turn away and you know that if anything ever goes down in that hotel, they're going to pull the security video and there's going to be me looking up going, what the hell? Like mouthing it. Like what, you know, like rolling your eyes. Woo, you know, dude's a little high strung. So I get out to the car and I start to tell Kristen about this. I said, you're not going to believe this. So we're pulling the bags out and I've got all the equipment and everything too. And I don't leave it in the car. So I'm pulling all this stuff out and I had to get a Bellman, one of those, you know, rolling carts. I got a Bellman. We're stacking everything on the Bellman. So now we got to go back in. So I left everything on the Bellman. I parked the car real quick and I come back and Kristen and I are pushing the Bellman in. And he says, now he sees Kristen, who was the picture on the phone. And he looks at her and he looks at me. He's like, dude, rock it. Rock it. Who says that? Who says that? So I go upstairs. Kristen, we're not done. Kristen gets into the bathroom, and I had to go to the bathroom. Well, she's taking it over. She's doing the makeup thing and getting ready because we're going to come back over to the craft beer night at the Oktoberfest grounds. So I said, you know what? I'm going to run downstairs. I'm going to go to the bathroom, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my backpack and some of the equipment back down, put it in the car, the whole deal. Okay, we're good to go. So anyway, we take it back down. And I put everything in the car, and then we're going to leave. And as we're leaving, this guy, the same guy, is in the lobby. I kid you not. He is in the lobby, and he's talking to an older gentleman. This guy had to be late 70s, okay? And he's got another guy with him that is, I think he's like the custodian or something. Okay, he's kind of like the custodian or something. And the long and short of it is, he's telling this guy as I'm walking through, he says, they're talking about fish, and the guy's trying to find a fish fry for tonight. He was asking the front desk guy where a fish fry is. And they started talking about the species of fish or something. And then he says to the old guy, he says, oh, dude, that's river fish. If you want to eat that, you go find a sorority house across the river. I'm like, what? That's what he said to the guy. Oh, man, that's a sorority house across the river. And that's when I'm like, okay, I got to go. And the old guy's like, oh. And the custodian says to him, as we're walking by, he's like, sir, he's like, wait a minute. There's a lady walking through here. But this was the guy at the hotel. And some people are, because I'm telling a story last night, and they're saying to me, oh, my God, it's terrible. I'm like, no, this is one of the best stories ever. This guy's great. He's like he's his own caricature. So anyway, long story short, that was the check-in, just the check-in at the hotel last night before we came over to the Oktoberfest grounds. Let's do this. We're going to step away real quick. We'll get into some other stuff. We're going to hear from the Packers coaches when we come back. Hang in there. More of the Bill Michaels Show. We are live. We're at Oktoberfest out here in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Stay tuned. We got more coming up right after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin SportsZone Radio Network.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others. I'm in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine, a place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. We are brought to you by our friends over there at New Male Medical, treating guys with ED and weight loss and such, low T. They're all over the state of Wisconsin, well beyond the borders as well. If you're listening to us, there's one phone number, 414-455-4451. Again, 414-455-4451. That is the New Male Medical Center, and they can help. 98% success rate at treating guys with ED. And if you got the low T, you can go in and get your numbers checked. It takes maybe 10 minutes tops. And go in and get checked out and see if you're doing all right. And they can help you out with a plan if you're not. And if you want to lose some weight, they have an all-in-one weight loss program geared just for you. We are broadcasting live. We are here at Oktoberfest in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Going to hear from Mike Clemens coming up in the in the next hour, about 40 minutes from now. As a matter of fact, Mike's going to be making his appearance with us. We'll be talking with him. But if you haven't been to the Facebook fan page yet, or follow me on Instagram, even over on Twitter to a certain extent, go and take a look at it. We got some pictures up from Oktoberfest, some video from earlier today, where we're set up, all that kind of stuff. If you just want to get a look at it, sometimes the visual is just as good, or you're just following us on the Bud Light live stream, whether it's on Facebook. You can follow us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show, and you can follow us there as well. Down below us, if you're watching on the Bud Light live stream, in that tent off to the right is where the bands are getting underway, the Oompa band that is now playing. And off to the behind that other building is a big black stage. That's the big stage here. It's a bigger area. And then, as you can probably see, the fans are still streaming in. This place, it's alleviated a little bit when it comes to the crowd, but there are people. The line goes all the way back out to the road, another 50, 60 yards outside. But they're moving through a little bit faster now that they've opened the gates and they got some of the technical issues done, as the tickets weren't scanning properly at first. But everything's good. Matter of fact, coming up here in about 10 minutes, Mark Womett, he is the Oktoberfest president, going to be joining us up here, and we'll talk with him a little bit about Fest out here. In the meantime, we've got all kinds of stuff, if you will, from some of the Packers coaches as they all spoke to the media. Now, Adam Stenavich, he was asked specifically, with Bill Belichick, we talked about it earlier, he always tries to take away your strength and what it is you do. So Stenavich was asked, what do you expect from a Patriots defense under Bill Belichick?
They're going to present some things that you haven't seen on film. They do a good job trying to take away, what you do best. So you have to have some plans and some adjustments up your sleeve, in case they go in multiple different directions. You got to have some answers for everything. So, they test your rules and they test you up front, targeting, and they're going to try and win their one-on-one matchups on the back end. And so you just got to be ready to go win.
He was also asked, Romeo Doubs has really come on. And, was he surprised that Doubs, in, only his third game, it led the team in receptions, which he had 8 of them, in the win over Tampa Bay?
Well, we knew, obviously when Sammy went down, that he was going to have a bigger part in the game plan. And, it's just a matter of kind of how the game flowed. He had his opportunities. He made some big plays, which we know he's very capable of. And we're very excited about him, moving forward. He has the great hands and he can do some good things once he catches the ball. So, it was really encouraging to see that. And hopefully there's a lot more of that to come.
So we know what the New England Patriots are synonymous for, and that was Tom Brady championships, Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels. Now you don't have Brady. You don't have Josh McDaniels. It's a different team. It's a different look. It's a different setup. So what is it going to be like? Joe Barry was asked specifically when it comes to facing a different quarterback, whether it's Brian Hoyer or Mac Jones, who is, by the way, today throwing. He's in a helmet. He's in a jersey, shorts. He's not fully practicing, but he is back on the field today, and he's taken at least some throws and such. But That being said, what's it like? Joe Barry, the defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers, asked, what's it like facing the Patriots minus Tom Brady, minus Josh McDaniels?
Of course, it's not going to be exactly the same, but I think they have a system. They have a belief in the way they do things. And, you know, it was established and built over the years, obviously with Brady there. So there's going to be subtle differences because that exact person isn't there anymore. And again, it's a different quarterback, so things are going to be different. But it's still the New England Patriots, and it's still their philosophy, and it's still their mindset. And obviously, Coach Belichick's still there.
Special teams coordinator Rich Bisaccia. He says, look, and we've noticed it. We just talked about it this week, that when we started wanting to point out some of the good that is going on right now with the Green Bay Packers, we talked about, each week improving and such. But he said, look, this could be an ultimate test of how good the Packers and how much the Packers have improved this week.
Talking about field position, we're playing the ultimate field position coach in this week's game. You know, he does everything possible to gain field position throughout the game, and we're really trying to do the same thing. You know, our job on punt is it's the last play of offense. We got to protect the ball, and then we transition to the first play of defense. We haven't had many shots in the kickoff return game to set the offense, but we've done it from the punt return perspective a little bit. The penalty cost us in the game last week. Also, I think we've got a really advantageous field position somewhere inside the 30.
Also, the wide receiver coach, Jason Brable, was asked when you talk about Christian Watson, I mean, this is the guy they went after and they traded to get. How do you keep him up? He had a knee injury, and that's setting back. And then he finally gets back into the swing of things. That opening pass, not drive, but that opening pass, that first pass, that deep pass right through his hands. And then he comes back after that, and he's got a hamstring injury, and that's kept him out. How do you get this guy from being too discouraged with all of this missed time due to injuries?
Mentally, he's been great. It's more, everything about the receiver position is like being an artist, creating a perfect picture. And I tell you what, Christian is a worker, and you watch him out there practice. There's a speed that I've maybe never even felt before on a field, and he's been pushing himself, and like I said, I mean, he started week one and had some ops, and him and Romeo, along with Samari, have done a really good job. All three of those rookies have been, a blessing to our room, and really good fits.
Then, last but not least, when you talk about this team itself specifically, the quarterback position, we were talking or listening the other day to Aaron Rodgers on Wednesday when he was saying, it's not about all of these adjustments. It's not about halftime. They try to do things during the game, little things, little nuances when he talks to the players about getting better. It's not coaches that come down and say, okay, they're doing this. This is what we're going to do. It's more so about the collaboration on the sideline. So quarterbacks coach Mike Clemens was asked how he can best help Aaron Rodgers during the game on the sidelines when they're right there.
You have pictures of what the defense is doing. You try to go over the plays. Here's what they're doing. What did we do? Because you can see something from the sideline, but a lot of times there's communication. He has communication with the line or the receivers that you can't necessarily see from the sideline. So you have to say, okay, here's the play. He says, I did this, or we tried to do that. And then look at the defense and say, well, here's this look. Down the road, if they get the same look, be ready to do this. And he's very good at looking at something, recognizing it, putting it away, and then if he sees it again, he can make the adjustment.
So there you go. That's all the coaches. A lot of I shouldn't say all, but a lot of the coaches, the Green Bay Packers, talking about the different nuances of this team, where they're at, how they're doing, how they're progressing, and thoughts during the game. Just a side note to a couple of things, Marcus Dupree. He rose to fame in Mississippi, and beyond that, a brief football career. He became the subject of the ESPN documentary, speaking out about his alleged role in a sprawling welfare fraud case that also entangled now the Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre. He said, I don't appreciate being lumped into something like I took money, Dupree said. I worked too hard on my reputation to do the right thing and to be the right person. I don't like what's going on. Dupree, by the way, he grew up in Philadelphia, Mississippi, where his highlight reel was worthy of performances. You go back in his high school days. I mean, he was all of that in a bag of chips. He ended up going to the University of Oklahoma in '82. His career ultimately hampered by injuries. And the documentary was called The Best That Never Was because of the injuries. But his name does not appear with any frequency in the national media or such in the results of this Mississippi fraud case when it became public. But he said, look, he's trying to distance himself from this whole thing with Brett Favre. And in addition to that, Abby Wambach, remember her, plans to get out of the drug company that is linked to Brett Favre and the welfare case fraud as well. The soccer legend, Abby Wambach, telling ESPN that she intends to fully divest herself from a concussion drug company that is backed by Brett Favre and is at the center of a Mississippi welfare fraud case as well. She said, look, I don't want to be any part of what he's doing right now. Not per se her words, but basically the two-time gold medalist who's in the Soccer Hall of Fame, member of the Sports Advisory Board for Odyssey Health, which is a drug company that said they've developed a nasal spray designed to treat concussions. According to the lawsuit, we all know Favre got some issues there, but Wambach indicated it wasn't until she was contacted by ESPN earlier in the day that she first became really aware of all the entire disturbing information about Odyssey Health. She said that she had supported the company as a part of personal efforts to lessen the impact of concussion-related injuries. Minutes after learning of the new information, she said, I initiated the process to immediately and fully divest myself from any involvement, financial or otherwise, with Odyssey Health Incorporated, a process that I insisted be completed by the end of the day, immediately bailing on that company after it came to light that Brett Favre is indeed, the center of an investigation now. And once they set their sights on you, and once you have prosecutors and such who really are out to make a name for themselves, and they've got this kind of a big name like Brett Favre to latch on to, unless he is really, truly innocent, they've grabbed on, and they're not letting go anytime soon. This investigation and the people that are cooperating, from what you kind of get bits and pieces of, are really willing to point the finger and say, look, it's not that he started this, but he certainly benefited from it. And, oh, yeah, he knew all about it. So we'll see what actually happens before it's all said and done. Let's do this. We're going to step away. We're going to take a quick break. We are broadcasting live. We're here at now, we should be this time joined by the president, Mark Ouimet of Oktoberfest. He should be joining us coming up here shortly. So stay tuned for that. Talk a little fest. It's that kind of a day, and then we'll get back into a Mike Clemens final hour of the show, talking all Packers all the time as we get you ready for the weekend. Stay tuned out here at Oktoberfest in La Crosse. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin SportsZone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that loud.
Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. We are glad to have you. We are, if you are looking live right now, down on the grounds. I'm not quite sure what they're. We'll find out here in a second what they're doing underneath us. But there is quite the line and quite the look of people. Everything from T-shirts to the traditional lederhosen and such down there in the grounds as Oktoberfest is underway. Kind of take a look, and they're still streaming in here. As a matter of fact, at the front gate, and it's going to be like this all throughout the day, and it's going to get even more crowded here tonight. But we are perched high atop up here inside of the chalet, so to speak. And joining me here is Mark Ouimet, who is the president of Oktoberfest. First of all, thank you for having us, because this is our second year, but this is the first time we get a chance to stay and just hang out. But this is a great location.
Oh, it's awesome. We appreciate you coming down.
Yeah, it's not only is it awesome to be here, but as somebody who's been to a Oktoberfest and grew up with it, I had never been to this one in La Crosse, and for almost 20 years, I never got a chance. And then we came out last year. We had just an absolute blast walking around, and the whole town. It's not just the grounds, but the whole town is on fire, isn't it?
It is. The whole town, from campus to downtown to the fest grounds, and coming down on Friday is something unique, right? It's almost like a holiday here in La Crosse. You got Christmas, you got Thanksgiving. In La Crosse, Wisconsin, you got Friday, the tapping of the golden keg.
Right. Yeah, we did the tapping of the golden can earlier today, which I had to keep it to one Bloody Mary and half a beer. But then we heard the fireworks go off and the boom and everything back there, which is the tradition. And people take off work for this. part of the downtown like shuts down. I mean, obviously the bars and restaurants are open, but a lot of people are like, oh, to hell with it. Let's just go down and party and have fun.
Some of the employers give their employees the day off to come down to tap the golden keg.
Yeah, I can see that. That's fantastic. So we were talking about rankings because I've got people that say, hey, this is the second or this is third or biggest so you guys are constantly in the top 10 of whether it's hospitality, whether it's tradition, whether it's the size of, right?
Right. No matter the poll or the contest or the ranking for Oktoberfest throughout the United States, La Crosse Oktoberfest always makes it into the top 10.
So how many people will come through the gates? I mean, you really got lucky, too, because we got great weather this weekend.
Weather's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's tens of thousands of people that come down for the tapping of the golden keg. We'll fluctuate from 20 to 25,000 people coming in on Friday, coming in on Saturday. We get over 100,000 people on the parade route. So when the parade ends, those people pour into the fest grounds. There's tens of thousands of people on the ground.
So that was the other thing, because I kind of mentioned it on the air earlier, but it's not just this. The parade's tomorrow.
The parade, the big
So
parade's
you
tomorrow.
guys do a massive thing in between the parade and then a big game at UW La Crosse with Whitewater coming into town. I mean, this town is on fire right now.
It is. This is the place to be.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And obviously the parade route is a long one, but I've already seen the roping everything off. The police are going up and down the streets, and they're, for business owners that want the business, it's great. For those that don't, they're putting up temporary fencing. It's crazy.
It is crazy. There's families that get together and they sit on shifts because you can't put your stuff out on the curb until midnight. So they'll sit and wait, and they'll park in front of their spot, and then they'll get relieved from somebody else in the family, and then somebody will be there at midnight so they can put that blanket down and get that spot for the parade.
That's fantastic. So tell us about the history of all of this and why La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Oh, La Crosse. You had the brewery, right? You had G. Heileman Brewery, and they brought it to La Crosse and wanted to create something for the community, the town, and the tradition has just grown. Right. We're looking at 61 years of La Crosse Oktoberfest.
Was it just traditional from day one, the tapping of the golden keg?
No, that wasn't right away, but it was very, very early on. And, it used to come from horse and carriage right from the brewery when it was here in La Crosse.
Really? Is that how this whole thing started?
Yeah.
Okay. And I was asked today is the golden keg gold?
It is. It's painted gold.
It's painted gold.
It's painted gold. Otherwise, we'd have a little bit more security for the golden keg. I'll actually have the golden keg with me on my float vehicle in the parade tomorrow. So I'll have the empty golden keg. We'll take it down. It gets quite the crowd reaction when you take it through the parade. Yeah. It's kind of a little celebrity here in La Crosse.
I was going to say it's the only thing I can relate it to, and I hate to do it, but I remember years ago watching the show Family Guy, the cartoon Family Guy. They had the clam that they took through Quahog, the city, and everybody was cheering a clam. And I'm like, why are you cheering a clam? Kind of the same thing. They're cheering for a keg to go by. I get it, though, because what it contains is fantastic.
Yes, it is.
So you have a lot of food here as well. There's food, souvenirs, but the bands, the music, the band from that was in town from Minneapolis that was here last night was really, really good.
That's awesome.
You guys, do you remember? I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm sorry. Who was the band that was here on Friday night last year? Do you remember?
Oh, was it some bleeping cover band?
Yes, but they were fantastic. I'd never seen a band work that hard in my life.
Yeah, it's some shitty cover band is, I think, who you're thinking of.
Maybe that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Maybe that was their name.
I think it was. if it's the right one, they get them going.
Yeah, it was an amazing band last year, and they were fantastic. So the run goes all the way through the weekend.
Yep.
And is there anything people need to know about coming into the grounds, about parking and such?
Yeah, parking, park downtown. We do have some parking if you got a fest parking pass. This year, we're less cash, no cash needed on the ground. So we got credit and debit card at all the booths, and no need to bring cash down. That's new for us this year.
Yeah.
And it's really helping the lines at the ticket booths. The Heritage Tent this year has expanded exponentially. So we started the Heritage Tent a few years back with a small tent. And it's growing and it's growing and it's growing. And this year, we literally made it the same size as a main tent. And in the Heritage Tent, you've got your polka music, your German-centric beers, tables to sit down, grab a brat, grab a beer. So when you come down to the grounds, make sure you check out the Heritage Tent. It has become a super popular place for people to enjoy Oktoberfest.
Okay, I got to ask you now, how do you become president of Oktoberfest? And am I taking your chair?
No.
Because we've been saying this is the chair that maybe Coolio died in. That chair is just cool, man.
Yeah, we do keep that up in the boardroom, but yeah. So it's a volunteer board. And, joined the board a little over 5 years ago. And when you come on the board, you join different committees and get involved. And then there's an executive committee, and it's an elected position to get on the executive committee. And just humbled and honored. It's an elected position to become the president of Oktoberfest as well. And, I've really enjoyed it. It's been a wonderful year. You plan all year for this event, and it's here. And, it's 3 days and then it's over. But
and you spend 362 days praying to the weather gods.
You do.
And whatever you did worked out, because 70 degrees and sunny every day is absolutely perfect.
It is. So as the president of Oktoberfest, there's one thing that keeps you up at night coming into Oktoberfest is what the forecast is going to be. What's the forecast going to be? And, watching the forecast out there, and it was looking good. It was looking good. And when I woke up on Saturday and the forecast was holding for this weekend for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 70 and sunny, and it just kept holding. There was so much relief. I can't even tell you that feeling. It was good to see.
Well, it's a great party, and it's just beginning. So we're gonna go down in a couple of hours and enjoy it. But thanks for coming up for a couple of minutes.
Thanks for being here.
There you go. We're gonna go ahead and take a quick break. We're gonna be back right after this. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin SportsZone Radio Network.
Gina Della from Pella here. Wayne Larrivee and his wife Julie took advantage of our wide range of beautiful wood designs that can be painted, stained, or unfinished to complement any decor.
We have a lot of windows in this house. You match the craftsmanship of the woodwork around those windows to a T. That's a talented group of people doing that.
We like our wood tones, and so the ability to have wood tones some places and the white windows others, it worked really well for us and allowed us to have exactly what we wanted.
Pella's team of expert installers always provides service of the highest quality, starting with an in-home consultation and ending with no hassle or mess, leaving nothing but perfect results that stand the test of time. We have the best wood warranty in the industry to prove it. There's no reason to wait any longer, because right now, put no money down, make no payments, and be charged 0 interest for up to 24 months. At Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Get started today at PellaWI.com.
Expires 9/30/2022. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
In Green Bay, here's Mike Clemens.
When the Packers host the Patriots here at Lambeau Field Sunday at 3:25, it'll be an important game for Packers coach Rich Bisaccia, who says as a young coach, he studied under the master of special teams, Bill Belichick.
Talk about field position, we're playing the ultimate field position coach in this week's game. You know, he does everything possible to gain field position throughout the game, and we're really trying to do the same thing. You know, our job on punt is it's the last play of offense. We got to protect the ball, and then we transition to the first play of defense. We haven't had many shots in the kickoff return game to set the offense, but we've done it from the punt return perspective a little bit. Penalty cost us in the game last week. Also, we had really advantageous field position, somewhere inside the 30.
Packers wide receiver Romeo Doubs has been named the NFL Rookie of the Week. That's because he led the team with 8 catches for 73 yards in the win over Tampa Bay. Doubs talked about what it meant to score his first career touchdown.
It was a great moment to be in, you know, with me just being the first in my family to play at this level. It's big for not just myself, but like to think outside and see, you know, maybe the kids that are inspired by me watching, family watching, friends watching. So it's just bigger than just playing football.
Doubs is the first Packers rookie receiver to lead the team in receptions in a game since Max McGee did it back in 1954. I asked offensive coordinator Adam Stenavich, Sammy Watkins placed on IR, did you think Doubs would have that big of a day against the Buccaneers?
Well, we knew, you know, obviously when Sammy went down that he was going to have a bigger part in the game plan. You know, it's just a matter of kind of how the game flowed. He had his opportunities. He made some big plays, which we know he's very capable of, and we're very excited about him, you know, moving forward. He has those great hands, and he can do some good things once he catches the ball. So, yeah, it was really encouraging to see that, and hopefully there's a lot more of that to come.
That's Packers offensive coordinator Adam Stenavich. In Green Bay, I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Welcome back to the program. Glad to have you. The Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. We are here in La Crosse. Good to have you. I got a question here, and I thought it was rather interesting, and I'm going to ask you this, Ben. What is the over and under, say, on 10? We'll say at 10 first downs that the overall that the Patriots get in this contest. 10 seems high to me, doesn't it? Doesn't 10 seem a little bit high? I think it does. 877-867-1670. I can't take credit for it, to be honest with you, for the question itself. But who was this? Who sent me this?
Tampa Bay had 19 last week for the record.
I was gonna, but Tampa, well, 19 total first. Okay. I don't know why 10 just seemed high. Well, you know what? You know why? You know why? Because I'm thinking of third down conversion first round, because that would be high. So okay, I get it. So the over and under. Well, would you take if the Patriots had you said 19 total first downs?
The Buccaneers had 19 against Green Bay last week. The Packers had 14.
Would you say the over and under would be 10? Would you take more or less?
I would take the over. The Patriots are not a team that's going to really air it out and connect on huge plays. They're more methodical. They'll try to hold the ball, which if they are going to move the football, it has to be by first down instead of maybe big plays. So I'd take the over there.
That's our buddy Rick that's over on the Bud Light live stream. Casey said the Patriots are averaging 17.5 on the road. But 10 because Mac is out. because Mac Jones is out. And by the way, for those that are paying attention, Mac Jones back at practice today, not fully practicing, but on the side, throwing, helmet, jersey. It's not like he's not participating at all. He's doing some things via practice today. So they keep saying he's going to be a game-time decision. That's being reported by both our buddy Zach Cox and also the Boston Globe. So we'll wait and see, but I still think it's unlikely Mac Jones plays. So it's sitting at 10 because Mac Jones right now would be out. I don't know. It just seemed high to me. But and I think it's because my thought process was 10 first downs via third down conversion. So I get it, but maybe 12, 11, 12, something like that. I could probably go with that. I think the Packers defense wins this game. As much as you want to look at the Packers offensively and say whether or not they would win this game and put up a ton of points and just kind of ball control offense, I still think the Packers win this game. That's just me. I think the Packers are winning this game. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You can hit us up if you'd like to do so. Again, 877-867-1670. And again, we are broadcasting live out here at Oktoberfest, and we're in La Crosse, Wisconsin, which is where you can find us. You can see the crowd down below over on the Bud Light live stream. This one's from Mark, who says, if Mac Jones does play, does that change things, or does that make the New England Patriots weaker? I think it makes them weaker, and not because of the mind or the ability to throw. What I think would be is the ability to run. I think if he does, and you're not obviously going after him to hurt him, but if Mac Jones plays, they're going to, one, run the ball a lot. You're not going to do a whole lot of rollout stuff or movement stuff with Mac Jones. And secondly, if they get into throwing situations, you better believe that the Packers are coming after Mac Jones, right? I mean, he's immobile. He's a guy that had just last, and again, I can't believe we're even discussing this because 99% of me says he doesn't play. But if he does, he's immobile. You go after him. They're going to try to do a lot of things quickly to keep him in two-step drops or three-step drops, or he's not going to be dropping back on 7-step drops, waiting for things to open up, and then going out on the run. And they're certainly not going to do a lot of RPO stuff. So it's hand the ball off and quick outs. That's what they're going to do. And you know it. So you start to bring the safeties up in the box. You start to press. You start to bring the blitz from different areas, maybe even things you haven't done before. But you do it because you know he's immobile. He's not going to run a whole lot on that ankle. I can't believe that he would play, though. I still can't. Even though they have the pictures of him today throwing at practice, I still would find it somewhat shocking if he plays. I think it's a Belichickian spin on to kind of get you thinking, so to speak, as to whether or not he or Brian Hoyer would end up being the quarterback for the New England Patriots this weekend. I can't fathom that. I'm sorry. 877-867-1670. Our buddy Steve writes, happy Oktoberfest. Just a little bit of my bold predictions this weekend. I think that Bucky rebounds. Is going to be a tough game. Or Illinois, he said Bucky rebounds, but it's still going to be a tough game with Illinois. Badgers 23-17 over the Illini. Mertz has to be clean, and the ground game has to grind it out. Packers are going to run away with the second half. It's going to be Jordan Love in the fourth quarter. How about that, he said. How about that? 31-13 says, look for Aaron Jones and Robert Tonyan to have good games. On another note, the personal observation, I think the Dolphin organization from top down putting Tua's career in jeopardy with the decisions they're making for him. I compare it to what Mike Shanahan did to RG3 with his knee when there was no way in hell that he should have been playing. Let's hope Tua's career isn't at risk like RG3's was. That's ein Preußt. There you have. I don't even know what that means, but he wrote it in German. So, Steve, thank you very much. There you go. All right, we are going into the final hour of the program. Mike Clemens is going to be joining me. We'll talk with him coming up here in about 15 minutes. Stay tuned for that. We'll get all the sights and sounds, so to speak, of what's going on up in Green Bay. We'll talk with Mike about the Patriots coming in. We'll kind of wrap a lot of different stuff up in the next segment of the program after the top of the hour. Stay tuned. One more yet to go and a lot of Packer chatter yet to come. Got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. We are broadcasting here in La Crosse, the Oktoberfest grounds. They've got the tapping of the keg that happened earlier. The grounds are now open. The parade is tomorrow. It's fest time. It's Oktoberfest. Oktoberfest time. Stay tuned. Whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up right after this. Final hour of the Bill Michaels Show on a sunshiny day. We are in La Crosse, Wisconsin. We are festing, my friends. We are festing. Oktoberfest is underway. You can see the line. You know what the line, I found out what the line is during the break, what the line is down below me. It's for beer tickets. Go figure. I should have known better. Come on. I figured it had something to do with a beverage. And sure enough, that's what it is. So for those of you watching on the Bud Light live stream, you can see the line down below. And I'm thinking, what is that line? So I took a picture, by the way, up here on our perch. If you haven't seen that already, it's over on the Facebook fan page. It's on Twitter. It's on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram, The Real Bill Michaels. But I asked when Mark Ouimet, the president of Oktoberfest, was up here. I'm like, what is that down below? He said, that's beer tickets. Oh, okay. Now I get it. That's what it is. The line for beer tickets. How about that? Love it. Couple of different things. By the way, Mike McDaniel, the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, he had just said, Mike Garofalo reporting, he was asked that if he would do anything differently from the time Tua went down with the injury against Buffalo on Sunday to last night to today. He said, quote, I have 100% conviction in our process regarding our players. This is a player-friendly organization. There was no medical indication from all resources that there was anything regarding the head, meaning they didn't believe he had a concussion. Now, do I hold the Mike McDaniel, the head coach, accountable? To a certain extent. But as many of you pointed out, look, he can only, because when you're the head coach, you're on to the next play. Your guy's off being evaluated. Doctors come over. They say, he's good to go. Okay, great. Put him back in. If he's not good to go, they say, hey, he's got a concussion. He's out. The advisors will let you know what's going on. First and foremost, Ben, does Mike McDaniel look like he's about 18 years old? Like he was a nerd that just came out of playing Madden out of a dark cave, you know?
Yeah, I get that sometimes.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it.
Man, he looks like he just came out of maybe mom's basement. He's been playing Madden for about 18 straight days, didn't realize what day it was, and he got the job as the head coach of an NFL team. You know, how about that? So it is what it is. But, yeah, I don't know if you can hear him downstairs. They're doing the Deo thing. I don't know what Deo has to do with German. Usually it's the tiki, or whatever it is. But nevertheless, they've been doing that all morning. Deo. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to the phone calls. Let's talk to Eric. Eric, welcome to the program. Bill Michaels Show. What's going on?
How you doing, Bill?
I'm good. What you thinking?
I hear you're going to be heading down to Viroqua tomorrow or Monday.
Next week. We'll be down in Viroqua on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday.
Oh, so you're not going to go straight down there. You're gonna come back.
Yeah, I'm coming back tomorrow, and then into Green Bay on Sunday, and then back out to Viroqua on Wednesday. So that's when we'll be there.
All right. Well, I got a good question. Seeing how you're at Oktoberfest, they always play the Packers game at Oktoberfest. So a good question of the day would be, what's your favorite Oktoberfest Packers game?
Favorite?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I appreciate the phone call. What's my favorite Oktoberfest Packers game? Holy crap. I'd have to go back and think about these. I don't necessarily associate them with Oktoberfest. So, Ben, we would have to go back through the schedule of years and look at the games that have been played the weekend of Oktoberfest, which is always the first weekend, last weekend of September, first weekend in October, to figure out what the best games would be. You have fired off a stumping question to me, because this is my second time. You know what? I'll tell you this right now. The best one was and it wasn't here in La Crosse. I had told Mike Clemens, when he comes on, we'll talk about this for a minute, but I had told Mike Clemens years and years ago that I said the largest Oktoberfest in North America, the second in the world, only to Munich, Germany, is in Cincinnati. And he didn't believe me. I said, yeah, they shut down like 20 city blocks, and it's 500,000 people. It's just crazy. So I took the Packers were playing in Cincinnati that weekend, and I took Mike to that Oktoberfest. And that's when they played Cincinnati. They got beat, as a matter of fact. It wasn't my favorite, but they got beat. But the reason it was so fun was because we had so many Packers fans in Cincinnati walking around in green and gold jerseys. We had a blast. We had an absolute blast partying with Packers fans in the Queen City. I mean, it was awesome. And Mike, I did not realize that Mike was a craft beer drinker, but he had you buy the mug. The mug is like $12, and then you walk around to all the craft beer places, and you get to fill it up for nothing. So anyway, that was it. So, but we'll have Mike share a little Oktoberfest memory when we get him back on. So
this is Jet.
Mike doing his reviews. Give me the dribble. Give me the dribble.
Give me a second. It's deep in the archive.
You're killing me, Ben. I thought you had it right there. You're killing me. Mike doing the review on his new hose nozzle.
It's called 90th birthday.
This is what's called 90th birthday. It was just a dribble. Oh, my God. That's absolutely awesome.
Nozzle here with a whole bunch of new settings.
Oh, good God. Mike is fantastic. So we'll talk with Mike coming up here in just a few. I'm sure he's listening. This one's from Art. Art says, my favorite Oktoberfest is the one that I can't remember. Love to see you there tonight. We'll be out around 6:30. All right, I look forward to it. Not to the point where I want to forget about today and be that blottoed, but I look forward to seeing you, man. I do. Dale says, going to be an Oktoberfest in about an hour. Have one with you. When you get off the air, where are you going to go? When I get off the air, I'm packing it up. I got to run to the hotel, pick Kristen up, and then we're coming back. So we'll be here probably back on the grounds about 3:30, 4 o'clock, something like that. But I'll catch you then. So if you see us running around down there, you know, we're not hoping to necessarily specifically blend in, but we're just going to kind of hang with everybody else. I'm going to throw my my fedora on. I don't know how I'd look in a fedora, but I'm going to throw it on anyway. Talking about that earlier today, too. Mark says, hey, Bill, the best Oktoberfest is the one where all the beer is flowing, the cheese is soft, and the curds are deep fried. Not a lot of imagination there, Mark. That's pretty much any festival at any point in time in the state of Wisconsin, right?
You wait till it cools a bit and begins to coagulate.
Complicated fella. How much, he says, of a population in La Crosse comes in 9 months from now? Population increase. After so what you're assuming is that everybody's hammered. There's some vertical and then horizontal activity going on. Bow, chicka, bow, bow. And then you want to know what the population increase is 9 months from. That's a good question. Does the population in La Crosse jump 9 months after Oktoberfest? That's a great question, because I would assume the winter months provide the fall with newbies. Because when you're all snowed in the wintertime, not that the La Crosse is terrible when it comes to snow, but I would assume when you're all snowed in the wintertime, there's some indoor activities that you can probably do, right? Oh, by the way, Eric had said, he did call back and he said the favorite Moss was the Randy Moss Moon game. We remember when Randy Moss scored the touchdown at Lambeau Field and did the fake dropping of the pants and rubbing our Moss's debut. Not the
in
moon.
Minnesota.
He's a Vikings fan. Okay.
I figured the Packers lost that one.
Gotcha. Randy Moss's debut. Randy Moss, I tell you this though, for as much as he's hated for the whole mooning incident and wiping the rear end on the goalpost, he still was a hell of a player. I don't care what you say. He was a hell of a player, just a kind of a nut. This one is real quick, and then we're going to move on. Then I'm going to get Mike on. This is from Randy. Randy says, hey, Bill, the best Oktoberfest is always the one with the best music, but are the girls pretty? And if not, drink more. They get better looking as the night goes on. Okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with drunken Oktoberfest rants. You people are awesome, though. I love you. Bud Light live stream today, providing a lot of fun. So is the email inbox and Twitter. You're all into it. It must be festing. Wherever you're at, I'm sure you're festing at this point. All right, let's do this. We're going to step out. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, and we're going to give Mike plenty of time because I want to get this in. I took Mike Clemens to the Oktoberfest in Cincinnati, and Mike, if I remember correctly, the crotch of the Samuel Adams cardboard cutout was busted out of it. I can't remember how that happened, but maybe Mike does. So, and that was the Eddie Lacy game when Eddie Lacy was coming back, I think, too. I could be mistaken, but Mike is like a treasure trove of knowledge and remembrance. So we'll talk about that when we come back as well. Stay tuned. We are festing. We are in La Crosse. Look at that on the Bud Light live stream. Look at that. It's packed. They're partying. The line for beer continues underneath us. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show out here in La Crosse coming up after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin SportsZone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
I've been looking at a lot of film here on the Packers. You see the film, scan the scoreboard, and you see those names up there, and the great players and coaches that they've had there, really. Isbell, and Hinkle, Hudson, Lambeau, Lombardi. And you look at Packers' last couple of years, and, number one seed in the NFC.
Pro football is a team game. Vince Lombardi's passion for perfection made a small community in the Midwest a synonym for team excellence. In Green Bay, Wisconsin, on December 31st, 1967, the temperature was 15 degrees below zero. Lombardi's Packers and the Dallas Cowboys battled each other and the elements that would decide the championship of the National Football League.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody clapping out there. Nobody catching. Clapping, everybody. Clap, clap, clap. Nobody catching. Put your shoulders in there out there.
Saw Mac a little while ago. Definitely getting better. Probably won't practice today. Take that day by day, see how it goes.
Do you expect Mac to start on Sunday for you guys?
Take it day by day.
Is the plan built for Mac to have any kind of procedure to
Day by day, Phil. Day by day. That's the plan. Day by day.
Does he have a high ankle sprain?
Day by day. What do I look like? A doctor, an orthopedic surgeon? I don't know. Talking to medical experts. I mean, what difference does it make to me? What do you think? I'm going to read the MRI? That's not my job. So it's getting better day by day.
Day by day.
Okay. Welcome back to the program. God, what now? God, it takes me back to my mom listening to the radio. Who sang Mike Clemens now joining us on the hotline. Mike, who sang that song?
That was a groovy 70s show called Godspell. It was a theater show, a musical on Broadway.
Right, okay, gotcha. I was going to say, God, that takes me back. I remember hearing that song on the radio.
Yep.
Yeah, holy mackerel. Yeah, there you go. Boy, you blew me away with a 70s tune. So, Mike, how you doing, pal?
Pretty good. You know what? Bill Belichick comes out, and he starts talking about, I am doing my studies on Green Bay now, and you see all these names like, Cecil Isabel and Clark Hinkle and Don Hudson and everything that Hudson did for the forward pass in the game, and, Lambeau and Lombardi. And he is also realizing, he's on Mount Rushmore. He's won 6 Super Bowls. He's lost some Super Bowls as well. But he's understanding, that this might be his last time as a head coach to coach a team inside Lambeau Field. I mean, these guys are getting onto some of their farewell tours, and I think that makes this game really significant because you've got this young, talented Matt LaFleur, and of course, the judgment on him is now will he be able to win after Aaron Rodgers? And right now, Belichick is trying to prove to the world that he can win without Tom Brady, right?
Well, it's interesting because that's not even an aspect that I never thought of, that if Bill Belichick decides to retire in the next year or two, or at the end of this year, whenever, he's on his own little personal, maybe in his head, farewell tour, isn't he?
Hey, sure. I don't think that Belichick needs to win one more Super Bowl without Brady. I'm sure that would be tremendous. But I think he would like to, at least for the Kraft family, to set this organization up and hand it over to the next guy. But, besides losing Brady, his roster has revolved. He's been rebuilding. He tried Cam Newton. That didn't work. Mac Jones could be a seriously good quarterback. I thought he showed a lot of spark last year. Last weekend, though, he throws 3 picks and then he gets roughed up with the high ankle sprain, and we know that storyline. But this is really interesting now. For Matt LaFleur, Bill, he's got to beat Belichick, because Belichick's not out there with Brady. He's out there with a backup quarterback. And this is Matt LaFleur with Aaron Rodgers. And so LaFleur wants to get into that conversation. Obviously, the big box that Matt has to check off is a Super Bowl win while he's still got Aaron Rodgers. But this is the master head coach. This is the guy that's going to get into your head. This is the guy that beat your buddy, Sean McVay, in the Super Bowl. Sean, when we went to Atlanta, remember we covered that Super Bowl 53, right?
Yep.
So Sean McVay had the hottest offense in the NFL with the misdirection and Tory Gurley and all that misdirection and Jared Goff at quarterback, and they breeze all the way through the season and all the way to the Super Bowl. The young head coach there now up against the master, up against Tom Brady and Gronk and a beat up veteran team, and Belichick beat him. How? Because he'd been a man team all year long and he switched, and he had great special teams. I told you that was 4 years ago. I said everyone thought this was a boring Super Bowl because it ended up Patriots winning 13-3 over the Rams, and Jared Goff stinks and all. I said no, that was one of the best special teams games ever. They cut to the commercial, but they kept on showing how the punters were burying each other. So I talked to Rich Bisaccia about this. Bisaccia, who's a guy who said, I don't really like talking to the media. Yesterday, in Belichick Week, he came out with a prepared statement that he read for a minute, put on his bifocals and read it to talk about how much he owes Bill Belichick, that as a young coach he learned under Belichick, how Belichick was a special teams guy in New York who also had Lawrence Taylor, LT, as a gunner back in the 80s.
Right, wow.
That's pretty deep. Yeah. So Bisaccia says this is going to be a special teams game against the ultimate special teams coach.
Talking about field position, we're playing the ultimate field position coach in this week's game. He does everything possible to gain field position throughout the game, and we're really trying to do the same thing. Our job on punt is it's the last play of offense. We got to protect the ball, and then we transition to the first play of defense. We haven't had many shots in the kickoff return game to set the offense, but we've done it from the punt return perspective a little bit. The penalty cost us in the game last week, Russ. I think we had a really advantageous field position somewhere inside the 30.
That's interesting. You just said ultimate field position, guy, because that Super Bowl against the Rams, low scoring against Sean McVay, it was just crazy how both those teams were burying each other deep in their territory. Do you remember that about that game?
Yeah, I believe I watched the game this week. So, again, we try to watch as much as we can. But when you have those games that are, played like that, and ours really last week was a little bit like that. We did a good job at times, putting the ball back inside their 15 or inside the 20 to give our defense a chance for them to have to play, long field. And when you get in those kind of games, you have to do a good job protecting the punter first. And after that, you have to do a good job of covering. And I think we'll kind of get into those battles a little bit, certainly coming this week.
Mike, I know Aaron Rodgers addressed it, but the in-game adjustments, the adjustments to what any coach, but more so what Bill Belichick can do. It's going to be, it's a little bit, I agree with that special teams can flip this one. I think more so that the Packers defense can feast in this one, but it's those adjustments. It's how Bill Belichick changes things and morphs into something that can take your strength away. And it really does before the game gets going. And as the game goes on, it becomes a chess match.
Which raises the question right now, Bill, is what is the Green Bay Packers' strength on offense? Is it the running game? You know, the way they performed when they got Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon going against the Bears? Is it Aaron Rodgers with the ball in his hands in a short passing game because he doesn't really have a deep passing game? But no, this is Belichick's calling card, is that he takes away what he thinks you do best, and he makes you a mediocre team that's scrambling and trying to figure out, it goes into panic and can't figure out what to do. Like that Super Bowl against a tremendous Rams offense and defense, and you hold them to 3 points because you'd been a man defense in New England all year, and on the day of the Super Bowl, you switch to a zone. And you tell all your defensive backs, we're going to teach you all this stupid formation misdirection crap from the Rams, and you're going to take that confusion into telling you exactly who's coming out, what routes to expect. And Jared Goff stood back there and didn't have an open guy all day long. The one time he did in the back of the end zone, the Patriots ended up being able to intercept it in the back of the end zone. And the same thing, in other games where you see Belichick go after, your strength. So we talked to LaFleur about this, how Belichick can completely change what the Patriots' identity is on defense.
You got to adjust. Yeah, certainly well aware of, I'm not going to tell you which games we did and did not watch, but just the history. I told you I haven't been a part of teams that have gone against the New England Patriots too many times, but we did in 2016, did in 2018, 1 year in Washington. So it's just, we know that the challenges that exist, I'd say, and you better be able to adjust quickly and have some plays that are good versus whatever they want to come out and try to do to you, because he's one of the best at whatever you do well. We know they're going to try to take it away.
Can I ask you about Friday practices this time of year? How much of it is still install for, and how much of it is just review of what you put in so far?
It changes week to week.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Week to week, in terms of you're always going to try to give yourself the best opportunity or how you think you best should attack somebody, whether it's offensive leads. I think specifically talking offense and defense, today is usually the concentration's more on the red zone. So every team has a little bit of a different identity down there. So, you're always trying to draw from your menu and not get too crazy with a bunch of new plays. But hopefully we have a big enough menu, whether it's offensively, defensively, to give our guys a chance to have success down there.
There you go, real quick. That is our buddy Mike Clemens, and he is in Green Bay. We are going to go ahead and take a quick break. Before we do, I want to let you know that if you're looking for a good place to eat downtown Milwaukee, that is best Italian food you're ever going to put in your mouth. That is San Giorgio and Calderone Club. Calderone Club, the finer dining Italian side, still casual, but finer dining, great food. Then there's the authentic Napolitana Pizzeria, and that is over there on the opposite side, both of them right next to one another on Old World 3rd Street, across the street from our friends over there at the Hyatt, and a fantastic place. Go in and get the Bill Michaels, get the pizzas, get the spaghetti and meatballs. By the way, award-winning meatballs. They pair all that up with cider boys, if you like, from our friends at Point Brewing, but really, really good stuff from our friends over there at Calderone Club. Gino and Robin over at San Giorgio's side, they do a great job. They make you feel like you're at home. Great Italian restaurant, really wonderful food. That is downtown Milwaukee on Old World 3rd Street. San Giorgio, Calderone Club, and they pair it up with Cider Boys. Stay tuned. We got more of Mike Clemens live out here at Oktoberfest. The Bill Michaels Show continues on after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin SportsZone Radio Network.
Wisconsin isn't snobby, snooty, or pretentious. It's Midwestern charm at its finest. And that's exactly what Forgotten Fire Winery in Peshtigo is all about. Fun in a bottle without the attitude. You can find their full wine and cider lineup in their tasting room or in liquor and grocery stores throughout the state. The winery is a great place to get away for wine and cider tastings, great live music, and private events all year long. Remember, any time is a great time for Forgotten Fire wines and ciders. Wisconsin wine made from Wisconsin people.
Today's the day when everything changes and you're back in the game at Potawatomi Hotel and Casino, where your win is waiting. Alongside great dining, world-class entertainment, and a luxurious hotel, all in the heart of downtown Milwaukee. Here, we play to win. Visit paysbig.com for more. Must be 21 to enter casino.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Packers last couple of years, and number one seed in the NFC. It's a really good football team, well coached, well balanced. I think we saw that last week in the Tampa game. Defensively and kicking game, solid performance, and of course, offensively, this is a great quarterback.
Welcome back. We are broadcasting live. We're in Oktoberfest, at Oktoberfest, and in the Oktoberfest grounds, high atop the chalet, perched above, and you can see over on the Bud Light live stream, the crowd continues to grow. Now, that's just one of 3 specific areas where there's bands, music, food, and such, and it's all of the grounds are like that, not just what's sitting here in front of you on the Bud Light live stream. Those are the words of Bill Belichick as he talks about the respect for the Packers and what they've been able to do in recent history. In the meantime, Bill Belichick, he is a master of looking at your strength, deciphering a plan, in-game adjustments, and now the Packers have to counter. And Mike Clemens joining us on the hotline. So, Mike, there's been a lot of talk, especially after last week's game where the Packers got off to a fast start and then everything died. We talk about adjustments. Bill Belichick, one of the masters at adjustments.
Right, and that's a question for these Green Bay Packers. What are they doing for adjustments? Because here's another example. You and I are covering Super Bowl 51 down in Houston. The Packers had a good year that year. They went 10-6, but they got banged up toward the end of the season. They lost to the speedy Falcons 44-21 in Atlanta. The Falcons go on to the Super Bowl, and they're up 28-3 at the end of the third quarter. So Belichick and Brady say, okay, the Falcons keep running this man defense. Let's go underneath. Let's start with crossing routes. We'll dump off the ball to James White, the former Badger who just recently retired. And then Matt Ryan has that muff. They take advantage of that with, the shotgun pass. By the way, the quarterback coach for the Falcons that year was a young man named Matt LaFleur. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the Patriots end up winning that thing. Just a tremendous win, and all because of the adjustments, 34-28. And you talk to Aaron Rodgers about, Belichick, regardless of who's on his roster, this guy can flip a game in the middle of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything could change in the game or before the game or halftime, third quarter. They have a lot of scheme they can get to. They're very well prepared, very well coached. And you've got to be kind of ready for every coverage, pressure, 0, drop 8, a lot of different things. A lot of respect for Coach Belichick. He's best coach in the history of the game, I think.
I would agree that I think he is the modern-day version of Vince Lombardi. I don't know if he's overall the best. I think Bill Walsh was incredibly inventive, and there's been some other really good coaches, but certainly as far as decorated goes, Bill Belichick is it. And, then it's, Mike, I know that, again, going back to there was a lot of talk about adjustments. Aaron Rodgers even alluded to what they do. And he kind of laughs at this whole premise of halftime adjustments, like everybody's getting into this classroom and they're fixing things. It's more like a process, right?
It is. For example, on the big pass to Sammy Watkins, we learned that that way in the Bears game, that when they were reviewing whether Justin Fields had crossed the plane in the end zone, LaFleur went to the receivers and the receivers coach and said, all right, next offensive series, what's something that we could, that you guys see? And they came up with that Sammy Watkins play for 55 yards. They did not make very good adjustments as to what was happening to them both offensively and particularly defensively against the Vikings and Justin Jefferson. They did not make very good adjustments last week in Tampa when, their offense came to a standstill in the second half. They scored those 14 points at the first, and then they held on for dear life for the rest of the game. I asked Tom Clemens, who they brought back. He left this organization back in 2016. Rodgers asked to bring him back. LaFleur interviewed him in L.A., thought, okay, I see what Rodgers is talking about. This is a pretty sharp old dude. I asked Tom Clemens, how can you best help Aaron Rodgers on the sidelines during a game?
You have pictures of what the defense is doing. You try to go over the plays. Here's what they're doing. What did we do? Because you can see something from the sideline, but a lot of times there's communication. He has communication with the line or the receivers that you can't necessarily see from the sideline. So you have to say, okay, here's the play. He says, I did this, or we tried to do that. And then you look at the defense and say, well, here's this look. Down the road, if they give the same look, be ready to do this. And he's very good at looking at something, recognizing it, putting it away, and then if he sees it again, he can make the adjustment.
Mike, I think for the Patriots to come close to winning this thing, I think it's going to be a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers. I don't think they're going to be able to outscore him. I think it's going to be do everything you can to get him off his mark in this game.
They'll try and attack that offensive line. Lawrence Guy is a guy that Ted Thompson drafted, but that was around the time that the Packers won the Super Bowl, so they were so deep at defensive line then, they let the kid go. Well, he's been playing for Belichick now for 7-8 years. Seems to be a guy who just fit into their system. I asked one of the defensive coaches about that around here. But yeah, the Patriots defense now, these days, they still got Devin McCourty, the free safety. He's outstanding. They've got guys on the defensive line like Jedrick Wise Jr., out on the left-hand side. He's been getting sacks. And Matthew Judon is getting to be a stud there. He's a weak side linebacker, but, he's like Rashawn Gary, man. He gets to the backfield quickly. And Rodgers was asked about that, and there was this press conference that little trash talking going on this week.
Yeah, he's a great player. He's got 3 sacks, and 91's got 4. So they got a good pass rush. Plus, they give you a ton of different looks, with empty pressures and adjustments and delayed blitzes, spying, a lot of different things they can do. We got to be aware of where he's at because he's a game wrecker.
Aaron Rodgers knows who you are. He mentioned you, Jedrick Wise, when he was talking about the Patriots. Is there any part of you that's itching to go after him?
He should know who I am. He got to play me, man. So with the most respect to Aaron Rodgers as I can, I think he watched film and he know who we are and we know who he is. And regardless if Aaron's playing or Jordan's playing, regardless of who behind the center, we trying to get after him. He knows that. We know that. Him knowing my name or him not knowing my name ain't going to really have any effect of me doing my job. I'm out there to do a job and get whoever got the ball on the ground. But, shouts out to Aaron Rodgers for knowing my name, I guess.
There you go. That's the outside linebacker of the Patriots, Matthew Judon. And Rodgers knows who he is. He can come after him. And that's going to be one of the ways that they're going to try to get him off of his mark. In the meantime, the receiving core, Mike, I don't know, Christian Watson, you just wait for him to finally come back and start being a contributor. Romeo Doubs, obviously the leading catcher last week. But the guy that's really kind of come up big was Randall Cobb. As much as we like Lazard and thought that he would be the main guy, that familiarity between Cobb and Rodgers seems to still work.
Cobby had 2 catches last week against the Buccaneers, one for 17, another one that was for 40 yards, and it was down the left hash mark. And I thought Rodgers threw a spectacular dart to hit Randall Cobb on that. And I talked to Randall about this kind of at length. I said, I thought Aaron Rodgers doesn't throw over the middle. He says, no, we run that play all the time. He said, the difference is that what Rodgers does is that he could actually hear some of the stuff that the safety and the Buccaneers linebacker were saying. One of the guys on the line was saying, I got the read. So then Rodgers goes, okay, so that means the safety's going to come up. This thing to Randall's going to be open. And Randall heard it, and Randall darted down the left hash, put his hand up. He had one guy covering him, right on his hip. But Rodgers put that ball right over that dude's shoulder and right into Randall's hands, 40 yards. And it would have been the next touchdown drive if it had not been for, Aaron Jones losing the football on that drive. So I talked to Randall. I said, you were out all last week with this illness, but gosh, you had a couple of really nice plays where you showed your speed. How did you feel on game day?
I mean, I don't know. I was pretty sick. I was pretty sick for a couple of days. I actually tested positive for COVID and had symptoms a few days before I actually tested positive. So I was pretty sick. It wasn't like I was just, I was just coughing and stuff. I was down. I slept 13 hours one night. So I luckily was able to come back on Saturday and was able to play and give everything I had in that little bit of time.
Glad he was able to come back. Romeo Doubs, who I'd mentioned, though, big game, named the Rookie of the Week, which is a nice honor, and the fact that he opened a lot of eyes with the ability not only to catch the ball the way Aaron Rodgers likes it, but also to be able to be a contributor right away when they desperately needed him.
And in the same week, Bill, where you were talking on the show, that I don't know why. I mean, so the Raiders are 0-3, whatever. And you talked about why Davante Adams was going out there and calling out the Green Bay media and say, well, they're going to compare this to me being in Green Bay. No one in Green Bay is talking about Davante Adams, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're all kind of focused on what's in front of us. When you're going to get Christian Watson going and Randall Cobb back on there. And then you got this rookie Dobbs who he caught 8 passes to lead the team in the win over the Buccaneers. Got his first NFL touchdown. And it didn't dawn on me till like Monday or Tuesday. Like, wait a minute, when was the last time a rookie in Green Bay, a receiver, led a game in receptions? Because receivers in Green Bay, like Jordy and all the other ones before, they always say, you play special teams for like a year, and then we start throwing you the football. Mm-hmm. And so the Packers looked it up. 1954, Max McGee is the last rookie to lead in receptions in a game. 1954. So Dobbs, who is a very good, humble kid, who they say, we were talking to the coaches last night, they say he's probably over in the Hudson Center right now working on the jugs machine to work on his hands. He was asked, what did that mean to him to get his first NFL touchdown?
It was a great moment to be in, with me just being the first in my family to play at this level. It's big for not just myself, but I like to think outside and see, maybe the kids that are inspired by me watching, my family watching, friends watching. So, it's just bigger than just playing football for me.
And this is now the first time that the Packers are going to be facing the Patriots without Tom Brady, without all the pomp and circumstance of this team being a top team. This is kind of a different look for the Patriots coming into Lambeau Field.
Nelson Aguilar is pretty decent, wide receiver. And, you got to look out for the running backs. Harris, Stevenson, those guys can pound the rock. So we talked to Joe Barry last night and to Adrian Amos about, okay, so Josh McDaniels now, longtime offensive coordinator, he's the head coach out there in Vegas with Davante. And there's no Tom Brady. So what does the Patriots offense look like these days?
Of course, it's not going to be exactly the same, but I think they have a system. They have a belief in the way they do things. And, it was established and built over the years, obviously with Brady there. So there's going to be subtle differences because that exact person isn't there anymore. And again, it's a different quarterback, so things are going to be different. But it's still the New England Patriots, and it's still their philosophy, and it's still their mindset. And obviously, Coach Belichick's still there.
It's just that system. That system is that system, and they're going to capitalize on you making mistakes. So it's not a team that beats themselves too much. It's somebody that you got to be on your stuff when you're playing.
They are going to probably have to beat the Packers if they can with Brian Hoyer. I still don't think Mac Jones is going to go, Mike.
No, he's got a high ankle sprain. It'll be weeks. Brian Hoyer is a guy who, when he was with Cleveland, for a while there, he had a run. You thought that maybe Cleveland had found a starter. He's 36 years old. He's been on half dozen teams, including the Chicago Bears, and he was filling in for Jay Cutler in that game. He broke his left arm filling in for Jay Cutler back here at Lambeau in October of 2016 against the Packers.
Yeah, anytime you get a chance to play at Lambeau, I think that's a pretty cool experience. It's a historic place, a historic organization. Obviously, my first and only time didn't get to finish it off the way I'd like due to the injury. But it's a great opportunity. Anytime you get to go in there and play, they're obviously a great team. Have gone, deep in the playoffs for however many years. A great quarterback in Aaron. Their defense, you look at all around, very solid, whether it's the D-line, the linebackers, the defensive backs. It's a unique challenge. I think heard today they're like 13-2 in their last 15 home games. So it's obvious a hostile environment to go into, but it's always a great opportunity to, to see where you're at too.
And Brian Hoyer, I mean, then again, coming into this contest, his last 11 starts, he's 0 for Mike.
Right, and 0 for 11, right. And, he wants to talk about how committed he is to Belichick and his sayings and his philosophies. He's one with the hoodie. And I was asked about, well, with Mac Jones out of the way, you're getting more reps with the first-team offense, right?
So for me, if I get to take more practice reps, that obviously is beneficial. And hopefully you take that. Coach Belichick always says, practice. What is it? Practice execution becomes game day reality. I know Julian likes to use that one a lot. So, yeah, I've heard it a million times. So, that's obviously hope it translates to that.
Hopefully he can call the plays and remember the plays rather than the sayings. Let's do this. We're going to take a quick break. We're broadcasting live at Oktoberfest here in La Crosse. We got more with Mike Clemens coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin SportsZone Radio Network.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others. I'm in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or a pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine, a place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously was difficult. I think everybody envisions playing, their entire career out with one team, especially having played a decade out there. But I was actually headed over there to get a workout in because it was a few days before free agency. They called and let me know that it just wasn't in the cards moving forward. Wished me the best of luck moving forward. And we wrapped up a 10-year career in about 30-second phone call.
Kind of an undercovered story this week that the official announcement that he is now retired from the game, Clay Matthews, as the former Green Bay Packer goes. Mike Clemens joining us on the line. And, that was kind of like, oh, by the way, I'm not playing anymore, so I might as well go ahead and retire, Mike.
Yeah, he came out as a spokesperson for some products. He did an interview with People Magazine. I was kind of hoping that maybe we'll do a teleconference or something like that with him. But I turned to number 12 and I said, hey, did you hear that Clay Matthews just announced he's going to retire from football?
Clay Matthews, you said in your time, favorite Clay story.
That I can share?
Yeah.
My favorite memories from Clay are off-season Clay. In-season Clay was obviously incredibly talented and focused, but there were a lot of days where, he was kind of like a angry bear, and he'd wake him up and snap on you. But off-season Clay, man, we used to have a workout group with him and his younger brother, Casey, and Dave. And off-season Clay is like wakes up every single day is the best day of his life, and he nonstop ripping on everybody in the gym, mostly myself and Dave, getting his brother in on it. But yeah, a lot of love for Clay. I loved having him in the locker room. Very good impressionist. Used to give some great impressions of myself and AJ and Brady Papinga, Kevin Green, RIP. But off-season Clay at the old Proactive was a lot of fun.
You kind of figured that question was coming at some point to wax nostalgic about his buddy Clay Matthews,
Well, as a matter of fact, Tim Van Vern from Fox 6 in Milwaukee asked Aaron, do you prepare for these things? Because, Bill Huber from Sports Illustrated is there, and Tom Silverstein, Spoon, they call him, from the Journal Sentinel, or Stephanie Sutton from Channel 12. We're standing around, and we said, does Tom Fanning, the PR guy, does he prep you for these questions?
For this session? Yeah. No, Tom gives me a little sheet of paper with some ideas about what questions. I usually peruse them. Tom, I do. But, I know what's out there because Tom doesn't leave me alone on some specific things he really feels like I need to see, which usually gets swiped left and red button pushed. But no, I enjoy the conversation. I've been doing this long enough. I have an idea. You can ask about, Bill and ask about their defense and ask about a couple of specific guys. And if Stephanie's here, you know what questions she's going to ask. You get used to the flow. Mike's going to do a 10-second, 50-second lead in on his question. Spoon's going to jump in right at the end.
There you go. A 50-second question. Less than a 50-second.
Funny guy, Aaron. Real funny guy.
Funny guy.
Real funny.
Less than 50 seconds. But, Mike, being here at Oktoberfest brought me back to the memories when you and I went to the one down in Ohio.
Oh, yeah. There was a killer loss to the Bengals. A bunch of fumbles. Clay Matthews, as a matter of fact, remember we were talking about it. He had the pulled hamstring, yeah, and they ended up losing to the stinking Andy Dalton Bengals like 38-34. But it was a great trip and a great Oktoberfest. As a matter of fact, I still got the cup, the souvenir cup here in the media office up here at Lambeau.
That's awesome. Mike, I'll see you at Lambeau on Sunday, pal.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. See you Sunday.
See ya. That's Mike Clemens joining us on the hotline and talk a little Packers football. It has been a blast. Thanks to W out here because they have been to us, the staff and management, obviously everybody here, Josh and Matt, who basically run the Oktoberfest grounds and such. And it's a great event. here in La Crosse, and you can see down below. I know we're short of time, but you can see down below real quick all the people that are coming in, coming out, the people that have gathered. It's a great day here at Oktoberfest. So thanks to everybody for taking a listen to us as well. And now I'm packing it up and heading down. We're going to have some fun. We'll see you at the parade tomorrow, and then we'll see you at Lambeau Field on Sunday.